What's happening? What you need in the building? What's happening? So the boxing was shown today, and well, we had some fights. We had some fights that happened, and we want to talk about those fights, particularly Anthony Joshua versus uh, Alexander Usyk. I don't need to tell you guys. I told you so. A lot of you guys thought Joshua would win. Uh, stop Usyk because he's so much bigger. Well, what do you say now? I thought it was a 50-50 fight. I said I could not predict this fight. And one of the reasons was because I said Usyk and Michael Hunter are a problem for the heavyweight division. I told you guys that. I said so, right? Michael Hunter and Alexander Usyk are a problem for the heavyweight division. Usyk just so happens to be the one that people are actually going after, but Michael Hunter is also equally as dangerous. All right. Hunter has a little bit more stamina problems, though. But we'll talk about all of that. Feel free, guys, to join as a guest on the show. Feel free to join as a guest on the show. There's the link in the chat section. Up on in and let's chop it up. You don't need to call in. You can just come on in. All right. That's the nice thing about the internet. Don't need a phone to pop in and be part of the discussion. And the rest of you guys can chop it up in the chat section. Let's get to it. So, before we go into the mega fight that we're going to talk about, instead of that, we're going to start off with the undercards. So, um, the first undercard here was, I believe it was Campbell Hatton versus Sonny Martinez, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to know what you guys thought about that. But me personally, I thought Sonny Martinez won that fight. I thought that he did enough to win the fight. The commentators agree with me on this. Um, but as they say, again, now the fight. One judge had the scorecard, a ridiculous scorecard. They had Hatton way ahead of Martinez, and then two other scorecards had. Uh, I believe they scored one for Hatton and one for Martinez. But ultimately, in the end, they robbed Martinez. Not robbed him, but they the wrong guy got the decision. Okay, Martinez was landing uppercuts on Ricky Hatton. I mean, at a certain point in time, he was just tagging off on him. Hatton fought with a lot of heart, um, but his punches really didn't do the job that they were supposed to do. Of course, this is only uh, Campbell Hatton's, I believe, his fourth professional fight, and he's been under scrutiny, and a lot of pressure. But nonetheless, he did not perform to a level. His defense wasn't good enough. His guard, Sonny Martinez was splitting his guard, landing uppercuts, landing straight shots, and finished the show really strong. So I thought Sonny Martinez should have won that fight. And Ricky Hatton, ultimately in the end, was the guy that got the decisions. Not Ricky Hatton, but Campbell Hatton. He really does resemble his dad. And to me, this is the problem with boxing. If the kid has to take an L, let him take the L. Let him take the L and move forward with his career. Is what it is. Let's look at. You guys can put in the comment section who you thought won. Now, I think the next fight on the night was Callum Smith. And Callum Smith moving up to 175 pounds, faced Lennon Castillo, who also faced guys like Dimitri Bivol. He also faced guys like Marcus, the guy who faced Jean Pascal, Marcus Brown. Marcus Brown couldn't stop him, and also he's a very durable guy. Marcus Brown couldn't stop him, and Dimitri Bivol couldn't stop him. Callum Smith caught him with a right hand in the second round, straight on the jaw, and dude went down hard. In fact, his feet were trembling after he had gotten punched. So I don't know what's up with that. I know it could be something with his weight, maybe going into the fight or whatever, but our thoughts and prayers are with him. But Lennon Castillo was knocked out by Callum Smith. So Callum Smith's debut, and Callum Smith looked like a big 175 pounder, which means he must have sacrificed a lot to get down to 168. And now at 175, probably he's stronger and everything. He's still long rangey. His shots are generally long rangey shots, even though the shot that he caught Castillo with was actually a short right. But it was still at the end of the punch, He's still at the end of his extension. So he had a resounding victory against Castillo, and also Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence Okolie, newly crowned WBO cruiserweight champion. He had to have a defense against Dylan Prasovic. Okay, and he stopped Dylan in the second round as well. First he knocked him down in the first round with I believe it was a right to the head or something like that, I think. And then he caught him with a left hook to the body, and that he couldn't, Prasovic, he just couldn't recover from that. So now Okolie's opened up. He's a big cruiserweight. He's a very big cruiserweight. He basically, I heard, he comes down from 270 pounds to 200 pounds. So he's a very big cruiserweight. That's why he carries so much power. And so it'll be interesting to see how he does. And he wants to do a unification, either with Maris Bredes or Dorticos, one of those guys. So we'll see what happens with him when it comes to that. But yeah, he emphatically got rid of his mandatory, handled that. So he's on to other things, bigger and better things. And the last fight I want to talk about is Florian Marku. Now, for those of you who don't know who Florian Marku is, he's had a number of different fights on DAZN, and he's really shown himself to be a very versatile fighter. This fight, he said that he was going to stop the champion, well, at least the, I guess, international champion, which was Maxim Prodan, was welterweight champion, international welterweight champion. I don't know if it's IBF or what. I can't remember what belt it is. But he said he was going to stop him within 6. But he didn't do that at all. He actually boxed him. His jab was on point for most of the fight. He was throwing a lot of jabs. He showed also versatility in going southpaw to orthodox. He could switch hit. So he was doing a number of different things in there. Didn't quite walk down Prodan. He didn't quite walk him down, but he definitely outboxed him. He deserved the win, and he got the win, which is good for him. So let's get to the main event, the one that you guys might probably be wanting to talk about. And let's get to it. So Alexander Usyk beat Anthony Joshua. He outboxed him, right? And how did he do it? Basically, if Anthony Joshua circled away from his power hand, Alexander Usyk would circle one way, then come back the other way, and try to jab outside of Anthony Joshua's jabbing hand. So I'll explain to you what he's doing. So Anthony Joshua was doing the conventional. So here's Anthony Joshua here, and Anthony Joshua is circling clockwise, away from Usyk's power hand. So Usyk's power hand, if you're a left-hander, I'll demonstrate. So if I'm a left-hander and I'm facing here, my power hand is on this side. See where it is? On this side. Okay, that's my left hand. Right? Okay? And his right hand, so my left hand is over here, and my right hand is here. So I'm going to circle away from your left, like this. So Anthony Joshua was trying to do that and use his jab at the same time as Usyk is circling to Anthony Joshua's, he's circling in like this. So he's circling this way. He's circling to Anthony Joshua's right. Now here's the thing. Usyk would do that, and then he would also come back this way and jab. So he would first go this way, and then he would turn back this way and jab to the outside of Anthony Joshua's jabbing hand. because what he's trying to do is get lead foot position. That's all of that movement is just to get lead foot position so that he could throw the straight left down the center. So he's trying to throw the straight left down the center, slipping Anthony Joshua's jab, but he's also jabbing to the outside. So all night long, Anthony Joshua couldn't figure out what Usyk was basically doing, which was going weak side, but in a different way. He's using his jabbing hand instead of just his power hand. And then once he lines up himself, he throws the power hand. And Usyk was basically doing that all night long. He's also blinding Anthony Joshua with the lead hand. But first thing Usyk tried to do, and Anthony Joshua knew this, and they were battling the lead hand. So they were battling to try and get dominance. Who was going to keep whose lead hand at home? But while they were busy doing that, Usyk was throwing his lead left. In fact, in the first 20 seconds of the fight, Usyk had already landed a lead left on Anthony Joshua. So Usyk already knew he could land. So Joshua was in no man's land. He was always a step behind because his legs are slower than Usyk. Usyk's constantly moving so that Anthony Joshua can't plant the throw. And confusing Anthony Joshua because he's going one way, then he goes back another way, then he goes back one way, then he goes back another way, right? And he's constantly circling you, but doing this shift, right? And sometimes he skips, sometimes he bounces, but he pivots, and he's never keeping one spot in the ring. Now, if you go back to, let's say, the 1920s, the 1910s, and so on, guys didn't really constantly keep their feet moving like that. Even in increments, they didn't do that. Guys would just stand in front of each other just like this, and then nobody's throwing anything. Then all of a sudden, okay? But today, in today's world, guys constantly can keep moving right in front of you. Just smaller movements, upper body movements and everything. And not just fainting, but actually moving, circling, right? So it's a little bit different today from yesteryear. And there's a lot I want to talk about with that, but that's another story for another day. So the point is, Anthony Joshua was quite befuddled by Alexander Usyk. And this is nothing new because Alexander Usyk, that's why he was so calm going into the fight. He was very calm because he knew how to beat heavyweights. And he had been a heavyweight at amateur, a super heavyweight at amateur, and he had fought that. So it was something where Usyk was used to this. For Anthony Joshua, this was something new. Now, I hear a lot of people critiquing Anthony Joshua, saying he don't have a chin. They're saying that Anthony Joshua should have attacked Usyk. If Anthony Joshua tried to charge Usyk, how is he going to charge? First of all, Usyk's moving all the time. Even though he's in front of him, he's moving all the time. And he's keeping a hand in Anthony Joshua's face all the time. So it's very hard for you to do anything because the guy's controlling you. He started controlling you from the first 20 seconds of the fight. Once Usyk could get that left hand in, he controlled the fight from there on in. And it's hard for people to understand because this is boxing, but it's always about control in boxing. And Usyk was able to do that from the get-go. So Anthony Joshua was always a step behind. He was always a step behind. Pivot work, he was always a step behind Usyk. He was always throwing things down the round line. He would sometimes land the right hand, but very rarely land the right hand because Usyk was going both ways. And he would sometimes, if Usyk would snap back from the right hand that Anthony Joshua was throwing, because Usyk's staying just at the border of his reach. So when Anthony Joshua throws the right hand, Usyk could slip the right hand and then throw whatever he wants. So a lead left over the right hand, he could throw whatever he wanted because he could just jab. He could jab. You know, he could go to the side, whatever. So Usyk was basically countering Anthony Joshua and basically going to the weak side of Anthony Joshua's two hands. So let me explain a little something to you guys so you'll understand, right? So basically, this is me here, right? I'm an orthodox fighter. If I throw my jab, if the fighter can get to this side of my jab, this is called the weak side because I can't do anything. I can't hit that guy here. I can try and cross, but there's only so much I can do. So if the guy's over here on this side of me, there's nothing I can do. So that's how Usyk gets his shots in. He would basically he would slip to the outside of the jab. Once I slip to the outside, I can throw a lead left straight up the center and hit you here. And then I can jab you over on this side. And by the time you pivot to find me, I can come over this way. And when you throw your right hand now, I can be on the outside of the right hand and then counter you here, here. You see your open target. So Usyk was basically moving and finding his points of attack. And what he would do is he would move a little bit outwards like this, okay? southpaw stance. I'm in the southpaw stance. So he would move a little bit outwards and then come back in with the shot. So he step out and step around, basically step around this way, or if it's the right hand, he would step around this way, and then he would do his thing, right? Boom, 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 right? So, that's basically what Usyk was doing all night long to Anthony Joshua. So for those of you who are bemused by Usyk and talking about how great he is and pound for pound fighter and blah, 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 that's all Usyk was basically doing, okay? Now, Anthony Joshua did not know how to handle Usyk. He did not know the techniques that I thought with the available information there. He would try to circle Usyk anti-clockwise. But then again, Usyk was quicker than him. For the most part, he was a step behind Usyk all the way, and that does hurt you. You got to know boxing, and you got to know what your approach is. So unlike Dennis Ugas or Teofimo Lopez or Floyd Mayweather, or even Mikey Garcia, he didn't exactly know how to execute what his game plan was. And I could tell his game plan was to circle anti-clockwise away from Usyk's power hand and technically tried to outbox him using the jab. When that didn't work, he tried to crash Usyk, and that's when he was an open target, and Usyk started tagging him up. As you can see in the final round, he got tagged up a bit, but then he slipped a lot of punches, which was very good for Anthony Joshua. He was laughing. But with Usyk, you can't just, you can't play around with Usyk. Hey, Christopher Smith, what's up? Christopher Smith says he didn't prepare for Usyk. I think he did prepare for Usyk, but it's not something you can just prepare for overnight. You can't prepare to train for a guy overnight to execute. The problem with him was execution. He knew what he needed to do. He just couldn't execute it because Usyk was changing up a lot of variables and stuff. Christopher Smith says the way to beat Usyk is to fight like Chisora for 12 rounds. Dillian White would do well against Usyk. Not really. To beat Usyk, okay, I hear you, but that wouldn't pretty much. And now Dillian White did go southpaw for a minute to give Usyk a different look, but trying to pressure him and trying to come in on him, you can get tagged up. So Anthony Joshua tried to do that, and he got tagged up when he tried to do that because Usyk he'll spin out on you. He'll spin out on you. Like, okay, remember he's a counterpuncher, right? So let's say I decide I'm going to come off my jab. You can't see me, but I'm coming off my jab to you like this, right? To throw a right hand to try and grapple you and then rough you up on the inside with my weight and then beat you up, right? The moment I do this, you have gone here. Your weak side. I'd have to spin to get to you. I'll have to spin. You see what I'm saying? I would have to spin. Oh, man. I'd have to spin all the way this way to get to you. You're over here now. Even though you hit me flush as I was walking in. As I was walking in with the jab, you hit me flush here. I still have to spin to get to you. You get what I'm saying? Anthony Joshua could have gotten tagged up really, really bad if he didn't know what he was doing. So he did pretty good. It's just that he didn't quite master it. He didn't quite get it. Right? And you're going up against a master boxer who's used to doing what he do. And Usyk beat him and beat him easy. He did get bloodied as well. Joshua did bloody his nose and stuff. It's not that Anthony Joshua is poor. If Tyson Fury goes up against Usyk, it's going to be a problem. If Deontay Wilder goes up against Usyk, Usyk might even stop Deontay Wilder. You never know. It's because the style is very difficult. Like I said, Michael Hunter and Alexander Usyk, them two guys are a problem for the heavyweight division because they know how to box. They really know how to box. Michael Hunter just runs out of gas sometimes, but he isn't getting fights. You see, a lot of people are ducking Michael Hunter, but Usyk's getting the fights. And the reason Usyk's getting it and Michael Hunter's not getting it is there's another reason. Usyk's novelty, his skin color, and the fact that he's been on a winning streak as well, and he's a pound-for-pound fighter, put him in a position better than Michael Hunter does. But, if you want to know a good fight, Michael Hunter versus Usyk 2, that's a good fight. That's a very, very good fight. And Michael Hunter's had heavyweight for a while now. So that would be a good fight. Um, but Michael Hunter has to work on his stamina. But Michael Hunter is a problem for any heavyweight. You know, just like Usyk, they're neck and neck. Usyk just have a much more decorated past. AJ didn't look explosive as usual. Gun shy? No, no, no. It has nothing to do with gun shy. It has to do with confused. He was confused. You remember Andy Ruiz? Andy Ruiz didn't look that explosive either against Anthony Joshua. He was confused. Anthony Joshua outboxed him. Well, Usyk outboxed Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was confused. He didn't know what to do. Mini Mill Zcanobot says, I think AJ needs an elite American trainer. He's good with the training he has. It's just that he needs more preparation to be able to deal with a southpaw like that. You know, I saw Lennox Lewis saying boxing 101. Lennox Lewis, you never faced a southpaw. Stop talking, bro. Don't run your mouth. You never faced a southpaw, so shut up. At least Anthony Joshua's taking risks. At least he's facing the best. Nobody want to face Usyk. He faced Usyk. So you got to give the man his props. And he's trying to do it, you know, prepare himself for those kinds of fights. So I give Anthony Joshua all the props in the world. It's just that Usyk's just very good at what he does. If Usyk was to face Tyson Fury, which would be a tough fight somewhat, he could get the win as well. It's just the way how it goes. Shout out to the guests in the guest area. Shout out to Junior coming on the stream.
What's going on, man?
I'm cool, man. What's up?
Just a little bit shocked on the fight. I thought AJ was gonna just blow this. You're not shocked?
No, I said it was a 50-50. I expected Usyk to be. I expected Usyk to be a difficult fight. I never expected Joshua to knock him out.
I just thought I thought Usyk, of course, you know, he's a better boxer, better. I just thought the size would be a problem, you know. No.
Yeah. I think it kind of went down one of many ways that I could have seen it going, which is Usyk confused Joshua.
Yeah. That's what I saw, and that's exactly what I saw in AJ. I was a little bit kind of like, you're right. He seemed a bit kind of like, I guess the gun shy. That's why I said gun shy. I guess the word should have been confused, because I guess it was the angles. You're right. Yep. He was confused, not gun shy. I think it's the angles, and he just wasn't used to the whole movement. I mean, that's always a hard fight for anybody. It's like
tempo.
You know,
he's a very hard fight.
You're right. I mean, it's one thing that I just thought, to be honest, I thought he would give good movement, and he did. Usyk. I just thought he was going to get tired out, and I thought AJ was going to cut off the ring and then just impose his side on him. And you know,
it was hard to cut off the ring because Usyk kept on going to the weak side of his jab. That's what I try to explain to people. So if it's a jab here, Usyk's on this side, and Usyk turns faster than he does. So by the time he turns, Usyk's over here again. Or when he throws his right hand, particularly, Usyk is on this side. So that's why. And Usyk was constantly moving. He never stayed for Joshua to be able to set the throw. So Joshua had to throw.
Let me ask you this. This is one thing that I always see or hear. It sounds to me like the people let's say like you and watching, you know, the watching fights like that. It sounds like you guys have a better plan always than the actual trainers. It's like, why can't trainers see that, especially at this elite level? Why can't you know? I saw a post, and Lennox Lewis he had ran the money. He said boxing 101. Well, why is it that these elite trainers and boxers, why do they skip all that, you think?
Okay, so first things first, you can have a game plan, but executing the game plan is a totally different story, my brother. That's the thing about boxing. So Joshua probably knows what he was supposed to do, but when you get in there to try to implement it, because Usyk's quicker than him, you see Usyk's moving faster than him.
You're right. That jab is just.
When you're a step behind the guy, it's hard to execute it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
And you may have a game plan going in there. You may even done speed training and all those things, but to execute it, like Anthony Joshua knew what he needed to do. It's just that he couldn't do it.
It's just
his idea was to go to the weaker side of Usyk as well. He was trying to pivot outside of Usyk's power hand, his left hand, right? He was trying to pivot that way and then throw his jab to find range. The problem with that is Usyk was taking advantage of the fact that he was circling that way, and he was throwing his lead left and catching him. So you could cognitively know what to do, but in actual fighting, it has to come like almost a natural reflex. You see how Canelo had that
right, exactly.
reflex
Yep,
against
yep. And the
Caleb?
plant
Right,
in the conference. You're right,
exactly.
absolutely. And you know what? You're absolutely right because Canelo himself said, I don't even know how I did it. I mean, it was more of a reaction. It was more of an instinct that I
Muscle
did.
memory. Yeah,
So if you
muscle memory.
if muscle memory, if you look at his training, he does it so much. I mean, repetitive. It's just it's so second nature that it's
Right.
just part of him now. You know, and you're right.
That's correct.
Executing these game plans in like a 6, 8, 10 week camp is just not enough.
Right. So you have to have a lot of repetition. So he's trying to prepare for a guy who's been doing it all his life. Who's going to win? Right.
Right.
So I was thinking about that, and I
Exactly.
was thinking, how does he impose his weight and size on Usyk? Because he didn't even get a clinch up to put his weight down on Usyk to tire him
Yep.
out. So the key thing here was
Absolutely true.
because Usyk was just eluding him. He was and in no
Yeah,
big set
true.
of movements, just the pivot work. So that's to tell you how it's very difficult. It's not easy. And then Anthony Joshua was not Derek Chisora. That's a different fight. Derek Chisora will
Yeah.
sell out, take punches to get to you. Anthony Joshua is much more of a strategist, a scientist. So
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think this is a great learning experience for Anthony Joshua. Don't count him out. He'll become heavyweight
Oh no,
champion again.
I'm not calling him out. I just feel a bit bad for him. You know, like it was just because you gotta like you know honestly what I wanted to see I wanted to see like the big boys like the Fury, you know, Joshua and
Right,
Joshua, you know, the Wilder. You know, I wanted to get I wanted to get those fights. I
right.
want to see those fights and kind of bring it to a close type of thing. You know.
Well, here's the fun part. Now it could be Fury versus Usyk, or it could be Wilder versus
Wilder.
Usyk.
That's true.
Yes,
And you know what? And you could do undisputed for heavyweight.
it would be crazy if Usyk becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. It would be
I'm gonna
crazy.
be honest. I don't think he could beat I don't think he could beat any of those two other guys.
Fury?
Wilder, Fury or Wilder. It's just Wilder has that nasty big punch out power. You know. I just
Yeah,
don't. I just
but
don't. To me, I could. You know. I mean, I don't know. It's just I just can't see him. It's just again the
okay,
size
think about it
type
this
of thing.
way. Think about it this way. Has Usyk ever been dropped ever in his life, in his entire career?
Actually, that's a good point.
Right. So that means he has good defense.
That's true.
So
Very
I always
absolutely.
ask myself this question. I said, if this guy has never been stopped, he's never been dropped, a guy coming to the table with power means what? He's faced guys with power before.
That's true.
So
That's
that's
true.
nothing new, right? Anthony Joshua had power, right?
That's true.
Didn't didn't work, right?
Didn't work.
So
That's true. He neutralized.
Wilder's not as good a boxer as Usyk. That's a fact. And Wilder has faced one southpaw, which was Luis Ortiz, excellent southpaw. But Luis Ortiz is not Usyk. He's just not Usyk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It
So
just
if
makes
you
the whole
think
thing
about,
interesting, doesn't it?
yes, Usyk coming to the table makes this very interesting. Uh, Now Tyson Fury actually has somebody to compete against.
Yep. Can move side to side and
Yeah. So even if Tyson
man.
Fury was to beat Deontay Wilder, let's say Tyson Fury beats Deontay Wilder, then now Tyson Fury, if he really wants to do it, he has to go up against Alexander Usyk. And if he doesn't underestimate Alexander Usyk, the last thing you need to be talking about when
That's
you're going
true.
into
And
a
there's
fight is knocking out somebody. You only going in there to win.
yep.
You have to
Yep.
say, at the end of the day, I want my hand raised. I'm not talking about knockouts and that stuff because this dude, I have to figure out a way to beat him.
Hmm.
And if the knockout comes, it comes. If your first go-to is the knockout, I got to knock out this guy, then it means you're not going to win. More than likely, the guy's going to outbox you because you're going to always be pursuing him. You're always trying to go to him. You're not setting traps for him to come to you. You're not doing those things. You have to set traps. In boxing, you have to think smart. And you have
Yeah,
to
that's
be able
true.
to even if you're not the most skilled boxer, you have to be smart in boxing, right? And with
Hmm.
the skill sets you have to use them the right way. So you can be as skilled as you want. if you're not smart in there, it doesn't make a difference. And I'll give you an example, real easy example, right? So one of the examples is if you look at a limited fighter, Marcos Maidana, right? Marcos
Right.
Maidana was a club fighter, kind of like he's
Mm-hmm.
very
Yeah.
unorthodox and
True.
stuff. But this guy was able to hit Floyd Mayweather, supposedly the best fighter of the era. He hit him flush in the third round of the second fight, and he hobbled back to his corner. And if the bell didn't ring, he would have been in all kinds of
Yep.
trouble, right?
I agree,
Now,
man. I
how was he
remember
able
that.
to do that? He outsmarted him. What he made him
Mm-hmm.
do? He made him go offensive. So the guy was keep on pull countering all the time, over and over. And what is he doing? Timing him. He's timing him.
Yep. Timing beats speed, huh?
So he's timing him. So when he does a pull counter where he thinks he's just gonna have a normal pull, he counters him with a 1-2, right? That's
Yep.
smart boxing. You may not be the most gifted. You might even seem to be the smartest in the ring. But if you're humble enough and observant enough, and you get fighters to get into a pattern, they'll do things that they don't normally do. They'll abandon their defense. They'll underestimate you, and that's when you strike. And that's how
That's true.
boxing is supposed to work. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
smart in there. So that's what it's about. Anytime somebody underestimates another, I know that certain people underestimate other fighters, and it's sad. I'm watching at a lot of things. I watched there are three fights this year. This is one of them. The next one is Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford, and the other one is Caleb Plant versus Canelo. All three fights, I cannot predict who is the winner. I'm not going to tell you who the winner is because I know both fighters bring special things to the table. And I don't underestimate any one of them because I have to go in and fight myself in a professional fight, hopefully at the end of this year, if things work out well with COVID. And I can't underestimate my opponent, right? It's a life and death thing. If you underestimate your opponent, every time you underestimate your opponent, that is when you are in trouble.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I
So
noticed against you. You're right. Absolutely.
yeah, where are you from?
I'm from Vancouver, Washington.
Oh,
Where are you from?
nice. Washington State?
Yeah, Washington State.
Oh, nice. I was up that side back in 2006, I think.
What? Where are you from?
I'm from Trinidad in the Caribbean.
Oh,
I'm actually in a
oh,
Caribbean
Trinidad.
country.
I mean, where are you
Yeah,
now? Where are you now?
that's where I
Are
am
you in
right now.
Trinidad? Oh, that's where you are.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
yeah.
wasn't that knockout guy? I keep forgetting his name. I thought he was from Trinidad. Caribbean guy. He was a knockout artist. In the
Oh,
'80s,
no, no, no.
'90s.
You talking about Julian Jackson?
Yeah, no, yeah, no, no. He wasn't from there.
No,
From
he's from
oh, Jamaica, I think, huh? No.
he's from Saint Martin. No, he's from Saint Martin or Saint
Oh,
Croix, one
okay.
of them. Or the British Virgin Islands.
Oh, okay. That's what it
One
was.
of
Virgin
Bahamas or
Islands.
one of
That's
them.
Virgin
I think he's
Islands.
from the
Virgin
Bahamas.
Islands.
Yeah.
Okay, Virgin Islands. That's right.
The
But
guys
anyway,
from Trinidad who were world champions was a guy called Leslie Tiger Stewart. He was the light heavyweight champion of the world back in the 80s, I believe. He beat what's the guy's name? Marvin something, a really great fighter. And there's another guy from the Twin Island that we are two islands, right? The Twin
right.
Island from Tobago. He also I actually was trying to get his advice on certain things um, with respect to boxing because he has a lot of insight. He said his problem was after he won the championship, he didn't have a team to assist him. So his next fight, he lost. He lost to Virgil Hill.
Virgil Hill, huh?
Yeah, the great Virgil Hill. So he
Yeah,
lost
I
to him.
remember. I remember Virgil. He fought Roy Jones, right?
Correct. That the body shot. You remember the right to the body that took him down. Yeah.
I remember his name back in the day. I remember the fight, but I remember watching a few of his fights. I remember the name. His name comes up every so often. Virgil Hill.
Yeah, Virgil Hill, Tommy Hearns, Donnie Lalonde, uh, Sugar Ray Leonard. They were all contemporaries of Leslie Stewart. So he's
Yep.
same era, same time. Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard, man.
Yeah. So glad to have you, man. My name is Anson. What is your name?
Sergio. Sergio.
Sir Sergio?
Yeah, Sergio. So Sergio Junior. That's why I have Junior in there.
Sergio. Okay, Sergio.
Sergio.
Nice,
Hmm.
man. So you
Yeah, man.
box?
No. I was just watching. I was just poking around. I'm just a casual. I mean, I watch boxing. I'm not like a pro.
That's good.
So wait, you said you're a pro, huh?
I
You're a
want to
professional.
turn
You said.
pro the end of this year because I don't like talking boxing, and I have never really actually done a pro fight or amateur fight. I have none, no pros, amateur, sparred a little bit. Still working on it. So I'm 46 and I'm going to go into it. So I'm telling people, I'm
Yeah,
encouraging people at any age, just
yeah.
get into it,
Well,
do it.
we're the same age, man. We're the same age, 46. I
Great.
thought you said you had a fight. I thought I heard you say you had a fight.
Yes, I'm trying to get one at the end of the year. I don't have
Oh,
any
okay,
right
end
now.
of the year. I see, end of the year. Well, good luck,
Yeah.
man. Just if, it sounds like you have a good mindset. I like what you said about not underestimating your opponent
No,
because
don't do that. It's
and
dangerous.
that's the best thing you can do.
I'll tell two things I tell people. If you're gonna go into boxing, please don't just take hits for the sake of taking hits. That's not
Yeah,
good
it's
for you.
true. That
And two,
see,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, you make a good point about like taking hits because Floyd was he kept saying there's nothing nice about taking hits and he's right, man. I mean, a lot of
Right,
people.
right.
It's your health. I mean, a lot of
Yeah,
people get hurt, and
yeah.
I think a lot of people.
I mean, if you have to take a hit, you take a hit, right? It
Oh, for
happens in
sure,
boxing,
sure,
but
absolutely.
where you can avoid it, please
Yeah,
protect yourself.
get
Block the shot,
get out of
roll. Yeah.
no, get out of the way. So who do you follow? Or like, who are you following for your training? I know you want to fight at the end of
So
the, but where are you patterning your?
right. So I work right now with some online stuff here, but I have a trainer that kind of helps me a little bit. He's not known around the world, but he's just a guy who an older guy who boxes, and he gives me some advice on what to do.
I mean,
That's
that's all you need, man.
locally,
That's all you
and
need.
then foreign in the foreign sphere, I go to Eric Bradley, the fight doctor, master boxing. I look at his stuff. Um,
Hmm.
I have to buy some packages, and I also look at a lot of other boxing channels just to get a wider perspective on things.
Yeah, I know for sure, for sure. And there's always something to learn, and from anybody.
Yeah, a
Well,
lot
I
you
mean,
can, and that's the thing. Once you stay humble out here and you just listen to everybody and you try to learn from everybody, it really goes well. You go a long way.
yeah, I mean, it's like we said, it's not so much the age. I mean, getting in the ring, that's already a big. I did Taekwondo like way back in the day,
Nice.
and getting into combat sports, I know it takes a lot of things, man. It takes gut, it takes heart, it takes. I mean, it's good for you in the long run. I mean, you develop a certain type of character and courage, and
Right.
it just getting in there just toe someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
It's
not. It's
already
a lot of people say getting in there. It's scary and stuff. It's not really that scary, man. Because it's another human being like yourself. You know to protect
right.
yourself at all times. Once you know how to protect yourself, once you've done some sparring already, because if you do sparring, then it kind of takes off the fear of going in there. If it was like a big thing where it's like a whole set of people, but if it's just a small club or a small enclosure where there's a few people there, it's not that bad.
Right. I think I heard like these guys are not scared as much as they're scared of losing. They're scared of, I think, because there's so much at stake. I think they're not, like you
Right.
said, they're not scared of getting in the ring as much as the being the loser or getting knocked out or
Or
something.
getting knocked out.
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, just because YouTube, you need 10 million views, and it's like a living hell. Because back in the day, I mean, that was different, but nowadays, like anything that happens, I mean, it goes viral, and
Right.
you're at the center of it. It's like the Canelo
But
Plant
to be
thing.
honest with
That
you, even the worst case scenario, let's say you get knocked out, right? You're not gonna remember it.
But that's true. That's true. I heard when you get knocked out, it's kind of like Paul Williams. Paul Williams said he was asked about his knockout loss, and they asked him like, "Hey man, how does it feel?" And I was wondering too, how does it feel when you get knocked out, and he answered. He said, "It feels like waking up from a dream. It feels like just waking up, and you're just like." He said, that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like anything. It feels just like it feels like you were just in a deep sleep, and you just
Sleep,
woke up.
yeah. Yep.
Because right around, you see people around you. It's like, well, what the heck is going on? And that's how he said it felt. It felt like. And sometimes,
Yep.
to be honest, sometimes getting knocked out is better than just taking punch after punch after punch after
Oh yeah,
punch,
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you're on your feet. That's probably that is the better option, getting knocked out as opposed to
Yeah.
take unnecessary beating, because that's even worse. When you're
That is
going down
much
and
worse.
you take all these beatings and beating after beating and beating and beating. It's better to get knocked
Yeah.
out, to be honest. That's what it sounds like.
I don't prefer to get knocked out. Nobody
Oh
wants to
no,
get
no, no, for
knocked
sure,
out
no, for sure, no,
because
nobody wants to get knocked out.
everybody's playing. Oh, look how bad he got knocked out, and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that happened to me.
no, I know, I know. It's part of the game. It's part of the sport. I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right. No, nobody goes in there saying, "Yeah, I want to get knocked out."
very embarrassing. Yeah,
That,
it's
that, that, that's
usually.
that's the thing that nobody wants to get like laid flat on the ground. It's because your family has to see that. You have to see that, and it's tough, man. It's tough. But I mean, that's how we see it. That's the
Yeah, I
milkshake,
mean,
man.
but
I
it's
mean,
a
I don't
part of boxing. That's the part
for
of
sure.
boxing. The goal is to knock the person out, right? So
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's what people see. Like me and you, we look. Oh, AJ almost got knocked out, man. I was shocked in the last round. A minute more, he probably would have been knocked out. I think
yeah,
it
and
seemed like he
that's
was
the
on the
cool
way
thing.
out, huh?
In a way, some people in boxing, because it's a very it takes a special mindset to really do boxing. To be honest with you,
Hmm.
uh, so shout out to Troy Ingram in the
How
building.
how you doing, man?
Troy, what's up, man?
I'm doing good, bro. Long time no see, man. I
Yes,
always want
sir.
to
Yes,
talk
sir.
about you.
It takes a kind of crazy-ish mindset because when somebody gets punch drunk, right? Sometimes the whole gym will clown them, right? Straight, just
Yeah.
nonstop. People be like, "Oh, you got the skanky leg." They just be mocking
You
you,
know,
right? So
I'm gonna be
it's a
honest.
kind of cruel environment to toughen you up.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
You know,
that's
to
it.
be honest, to be honest, I've always thought that I've always thought that the best night or the best time to get knocked out is in sparring, because that's where you make the mistakes. That's where you leave the
Right.
mistakes. The biggest, that's where you take the risk, the biggest risk, everything else. And when it comes to fight time, you're able to like minimize, getting knocked out. I think. I mean, of course, the goal is not to get knocked out, but if it
Right.
happens, it happens.
It happens. I mean, that's part of the
Yeah.
sport. I
I,
mean,
I think part of it is people are too scared of getting dropped or getting knocked out because it goes viral, and it just makes everybody look bad. But I think,
yeah.
to
I
me
mean, I don't
personally,
want to get knocked out. That's not my.
yeah, sure,
That's
sure,
not my. No,
yeah,
I don't want to get knocked.
yeah, absolutely, man. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, man. How you doing? How y'all doing?
Good, good,
It's
man.
great to see you, Troy Ingram, in the building.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's good to see you. So it's Troy and
Always good
Sergio,
talking.
right? Sergio
Yeah,
Jr.
Sergio.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Nice.
Troy is the other guy that joined.
Troy
Troy.
Ingram.
But yeah,
Oh,
that was
Troy
a good
Inger.
fight, man. Like Usyk, like you could tell the hand speed, the boxing
Oh,
ability, the footwork. The only thing Joshua had over him was power, pop.
yeah,
But
yeah.
even Usyk, Usyk was hurting him more than Joshua was hurting him. So
Yep.
That's great.
crazy, man. That was a good performance, man. Like, cause you
Yeah.
rarely see a guy that come from like that little weight to do that. The only person I said was Holyfield that did it or something like that. But
Yeah.
That was,
So
that's
you had
the
Ali started at cruiser. You had Holyfield, who started at cruiser. Then you had Michael Spinks, who
Michael
started at
Spinks.
light heavy. You had Michael Moore that started at light heavy. You had Roy
But you know
Jones
what?
Jr. that started at
Hmm.
middle.
And join James
Um,
Tony. James Tony.
James Tony, yeah. You had also, of course, the legendary, what's his name? The first guy
yeah.
to
Those are the
go
colors.
from light heavyweight to heavyweight, and then back down to light heavyweight. You remember who that is? Back in the early 1900s.
Who
Oh,
was
He
it?
fought he
who's
fought Jack Johnson.
hmm.
Not
Oh,
Philadelphia Jack O'Brien. Uh, Philadelphia Jack O'Brien was another guy, but he drew with Tommy Burns. Never mind. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not every day you see. And then this was an undisputed cruiserweight champion who came up into light heavyweight and
Yeah, that's
outboxed
true.
the top guy. So it's crazy.
Man, if he becomes undisputed heavyweight, could you imagine?
Oh, that'd be crazy. But it's
Yeah,
possible. It's possible. Difficult with Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury will give him the toughest fight.
yeah.
But
Six nine,
Wow,
six
man.
nine,
Wow,
two
that's
fifty four.
that's history, huh?
yeah, it's history in the
I
making,
mean,
man.
Imagine if he beat Tyson Fury, that'll
That'd be
probably
crazy.
be, man,
That'd be
that'll
crazy.
be monument,
But it'll be tough. It'll be
monumental.
tough because Tyson Fury's so long, and
So
then on
big.
top of that, Tyson Fury could fight inside. He could infight very well,
He
and
like
and
a
he's
and he's
quick.
teddy bear,
naturally
And he's quick.
teddy bear.
and he's naturally the bigger guy.
It's tremendously bigger. So that would be
Yeah,
a tough fight.
tremendously big, like two, what, 50, 40, something like that.
6'9" with a 80 something inch reach, 80,
Mhm.
80,
But he's like what,
88
two
or
seventy
something.
pounds?
And then probably weigh 270. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
I'm
that'd be
fighting that.
ridiculous.
That's crazy. That's massive.
Yeah. Close to
That's
300 pounds. Nah, that's and then
Yeah.
Tyson Fury is going to rough him up and put his
Oh
weight
yeah.
down on him. So that'd be a tougher fight. But you know, I
if
mean,
he could pull it off, that'll be probably one of the biggest wins ever. Like I ain't
yeah,
like
yeah, that would be a big one
that'll be a
because
good
that's
win.
heavyweight. You
Yeah,
know what I was just watching? I was watching
Chicago.
Ted what's his name? Ted Kid Lewis. It's an old black and white film. Check him out. Ted Kid Lewis. He was one of the welterweight champions of the world. I'm doing a series in the community section on
Kid Lewis.
the greatest welterweight champions of all time. And I'm just going through all of them, right? And there's a little footage on him with him fighting the Frenchman who was the light heavyweight champion of the world. So this kid, Ted Kid Lewis, came up from flyweight. He won a featherweight championship, welterweight, and middleweight championship of the world. And then he tried to jump up to light heavyweight and fight. Um, what was the guy's name? Frenchman. It's a Frenchman. And then that was to be able to face the champion, who was the guy that faced Joe Louis from Germany, Max Schmeling. He actually faced Max Schmeling. So after he faced that guy, he got knocked out by the guy though.
Oh,
He went on to face
Hmm.
Max Schmeling. And this is a guy that came up from flyweight, right? So there's some crazy stuff that they some crazy stuff. You know, everybody thought Manny Pacquiao was the only dude. Well, Manny Pacquiao won more titles, like
No,
championships,
there's
but
I don't
there's
know. There's
dudes
this
that
guy. Oh no, go ahead.
you go ahead, you go ahead.
No, I was listening. Go ahead. When you once you're done, I'll
didn't
maybe
There are
he
try to
guys
remember
that
something.
from
when he
since the
fought Earl
beginning of
Jones,
time,
right?
I mean, it was much more primitive, but there were guys who came up from, this was a time when there was no weight classes, right? In bare knuckle brawl. Just guys just used to duke out with guys. And then they started forming weight classes. So somewhere around the late 1800s, 1900s, when they had glove boxing, that's when some guys would just go through a lot of weight classes. You had Barbados Joe Walcott, Sang Lanford. You had what's his kid's name? Uh, Philadelphia Jack O'Brien. You had um, uh, I can't remember his name. He was welterweight and middleweight champion, and then he went on to fight at heavyweight. So they had dudes that would go. They would just take on anybody. They were like, "Listen, I don't care who it is. I'm gonna fight them." Right? That's how it used to be back in the day. Now the heavyweights were not as big as they are today. Right? They were like 180 something pounds. But the whole point is, it's kind of crazy when you think about those guys. So yeah, Usyk would be one of those guys, sort of like, because he would be like coming up in weight from cruiser to fight at heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He'd be one of them.
Do you
But
remember
who?
do you guys remember Charlie Burley or Charles Burley?
Oh yeah. He fought Oakland Billy Smith, who was a heavyweight.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's the guy that I'm very his I was reading on him. It's like very interesting guy. Do you think he's similar to Andre Ward in style?
Yes, yes, very much.
He
Yes,
reminded me
he
of
has
Andre Ward. He has
same
that style,
guard,
like.
same, yeah, yep.
Hmm.
But he's more, actually, people look at him, actually, Virgil Hunter said he kind of reminds us of Floyd. because
I don't
even though
think
he
so.
uses the extended guard, even though he uses extended guard, just like how Floyd would uh, jump back very quickly,
Uh-huh.
Charlie Burley
Right.
did the very same thing. So you see
Same
Charlie
thing,
Burley
huh?
hop back. Yes, Andre Ward
To
don't do
me,
that. He don't hop back.
Andre Ward, just Andre Ward just reminds me more of Charles Burley than Floyd does. But I mean, I'm sure there's elements of both in there.
Well, because Charlie Burley does a lot of things. Well, Floyd does a lot of things. Let me say, because Charlie Burley came before Floyd.
Right, right,
Floyd does a lot
exactly.
of things that Charlie Burley did. So
Right.
Charlie Burley, for example, he used the shell. He rolled punches off the ropes, and he bait and countered guys. He would disrupt a jab. He would counter a jab, and those kinds of things. So that's things that Floyd would do. And
Mm,
so you could see that there's a consistency between some of the old fighters and some of these modern fighters today who have been trained by older fighters. So
that's
that's
true.
why, yeah. So, but yes, Andre Ward actually comes from the Bay Area. So
Oh yeah,
the
Bay Area.
murderers
That's true.
rose from that area,
Oh,
and
I
Charlie
didn't
Burley
know.
was one of the guys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I didn't
that's
know they
why,
were. I didn't know they were from that area. Okay, so that makes sense then.
yeah. So Virgil Hunter, who is Andrew Ward's
Same.
trainer, he knows the history of the murderers row and all these people there. You know, yeah. Burley and Eddie Booker. Check out Eddie. I can't find any footage on Eddie Booker, but Eddie
Hey
Booker
Booker,
was
huh?
a bad boy. He was a bad boy, and it's
Yeah.
sort of similar style to Charlie Burley, but a
Hey,
different, slightly
d-
different.
do do you think James Tony is kind of like, I know James Tony used to say that his style, he was like old school, and he used to say that he was like the last old school boxer. Do you
Well,
think
he
he
was
falls in
trained
that
by an old
category?
school boxer. He was trained by an old school boxer in Detroit, Michigan. He called
Okay.
his name. I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he was trained. So he
Emmanuel Stewart? No, not Emmanuel Stewart.
no, it wasn't Emmanuel
No.
Stewart. He they call him the modern Sam Langford for a reason, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he's able to like roll punches and ride punches from the southpaw position, from the orthodox position, as a gentleman on me was talking about, and he just he was just brilliant with it. I mean, he was just brilliant with it, very natural with it. They taught him the fundamentals of that. So yeah,
Is
but
Bernard Hopkins kind of like an old school fighter too? You think Bernard Hopkins?
uh, Bernard knows. Well, he's from Philadelphia, so yeah. I mean, he's old school as well. hmm
Yeah,
But
those two
he has
guys.
a different style to all those guys I just mentioned. Because Bernard Hopkins, he used a little bit of dirtiness. He used a
Yeah,
little
he does.
craft.
Yeah,
Um, he sort of charges in with the lead hand. So I don't know how to explain it. Head down, jab, 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 run into the clinch. And if I butcher you, I butcher you. Hey, he was
yeah.
kind of dirty. He was kind of dirty, like Fritz Civic. So, but Bernard Hopkins, yeah, he's old school as well. There's a number of guys who still are old school trained. Terrence Crawford, the
Oh,
guy
that's
who
true, huh?
originally trained Terrence Crawford was an old school guy. He died, and then Mac and the other guys took over. But Terrence actually learned his fundamentals from an old gentleman as well, old school guys. So in boxing,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
It's good to have that, yeah. It's good to have those old school guys because a lot of the
absolutely
new school guys don't really know certain things about the old
no,
school, so then they can
yeah,
explore that. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Even Keith Thurman, even though he's not the best boxer in the world, Ben Getty was his trainer.
hmm
Ben Getty died, and then so these guys, even some of these young guys you see on the scene right now, actually have old school trainers. That's why they rose to the top of the crop currently.
hey, Canelo has. He doesn't have that typical. Well, I don't know. I mean, like I know Mexicans have that come forward pressure fighter, but Canelo has that more defense. Kind of like what I've seen is more like
Old
Canelo
school.
work. Yeah, like old school, like mixed type of thing. And I know because Eddie Reynoso, I know he studied he studied those old school boxers
Shepo.
from way back. Yeah,
Shepo's an old
Yeah, you're
school.
right, Chepo.
Shepo's an old
He
school
he said
trainer.
so. My thing is, well, I don't understand why like more boxers, just Mexican boxers, why don't they implement more of those styles? Like slick, because they get hit a lot, man. I'm saying to myself, it's entertaining, but it goes back to what we were saying. You can take hits, but at some point, I mean, you get out like Barrera, Morales, those guys. They had wars, man, and they were just those fights. They were never the same.
Right.
And then
So
you know,
They
so
messed up now,
good
yeah.
point. But you know, there's a deep Mexican history with a lot of Mexican fighters who are very slick. So it's not
Go
just
back, ever feel a little better.
Barrera, right? It's not just
right?
Barrera and Morales and those guys. Yeah, you had other guys who were very slick
Miguel Canto,
fighters.
right? Miguel
They just
Canto, I
don't
think
put
was
them
kind of
on the
slick.
spot because
Right, Miguel Canto, and then you had
they ain't have the typical Mexican
Salvador
style.
Sanchez,
That's right. That's
very
right.
slick,
Salvador Sanchez. I forgot about. You're right. Salvador
very
Sanchez
slick.
like that. And, what
Yeah,
what style? What style was Salvador Sanchez? You think? What was it? Old school fighting? You think?
yeah, oh, of course,
It's like
fundamentally old school.
yeah. Chavez didn't have that old school. Chavez was more of a come in pressure, right? A high
Right. So
pressure.
Chavez was more of an infighter. So it's not. He
Infight. That's
is
true.
old school. He is the old school.
Oh,
The
old
only
school.
thing with
Okay.
Chavez and Duran, Duran was trained by Ray Arcel. Ray Arcel trained uh, Ted Laurie, Ted Kid Laurie,
Okay.
the guy I just told you
Hmm.
about in the night.
Right.
Ray Arcel was one of his trainers. Right. Ray Arcel
Right.
goes all the way back. So Ray Arcel also trained the guy from Nicaragua. I forgot what his name is now.
Oh, the flaco, the skinny guy.
Alexis Aguayo.
Alexis,
Alexis
that's right.
Aguayo. Right? So
Hmm.
the old school trainers, they train these guys over all these years. Like you're talking about like 60, 70, 80 years, whatever. So these guys benefit from that. So like Duran, like Chavez. Chavez is old school training, but it's infighting.
Yep.
Chavez
Infighting.
specializes
Okay.
in infighting. He is an infighter. So you have to know
You
different
know,
kinds of fighters. So Chavez, don't John Chavez took some punishment that like you wouldn't see Henry Armstrong taking that kind of punishment. You wouldn't see
Right.
Benny Briscoe taking that kind of punishment. Those were also infighters, old school infighters, but they bob and weave really, really, really well. Chavez also does that, but
But not
sometimes he
as good
gets
as
caught.
the other guys.
No, not as good as those. Yeah. So
because you know the guy
I,
that
I,
trained
I
Floyd, the guy that trained Floyd, Frankie Randall, that
right.
actually beat the first. I think he was. Well, they say Pernell Whitaker beat him first.
Yes, he
yeah,
did.
that's
Chavez
true.
first.
Right. Right.
But you know Frankie Randall, he was one of Floyd trainers like Pernell Whitaker. So
He was one
Floyd
of
had
Floyd's
got
mentors, you mean?
yeah. So he
Because
had a
Floyd
lot of
Right.
actually
people with
sparred him.
that. Mhm. And
Yeah,
that's
Floyd sparred
big.
him.
That was big for him. You could tell how he fight today is that like Frankie Randall, Pernell Whitaker, his
Oh yeah.
father,
Oh
he
yeah.
got each of their styles.
His
So
uncle,
yeah.
his uncle, Roy Jones Jr., big impact on
Mhm.
Floyd. But Pernell Whitaker, big, 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 big
And
impact.
he said he was he liked it Chavez too. Chavez,
Oh
Duran.
yeah, he
So you
got
could kind of
Chavez as
tell
one of his top five
top five. Yeah.
all-time greatest fighters of all time.
Hmm.
Yeah, he
And
loves
that's I could
Chavez.
tell because he could fight inside. The inside.
Right.
That's who he got it from.
He fought Chavez twice, I think. Right. Floyd. Roger Mayweather fought Chavez twice.
Yeah. Chavez, man. Chavez said Roger hit him with one punch, knock him out, and then he hit him with another punch and wake him back up. He
Roger.
put him
Man.
to sleep
Rest,
with one punch and he
rest.
hit him in the next one and wake him back up.
Hey guys,
Yep.
do you guys remember it was an Argentine defensive boxer. His name was man, I forgot his name.
Yeah, yeah, I know
Um,
who you're talking about.
Baltimore,
Excellent.
not
Let's
Baltimore,
not
but
tell you. He was Cervantes beat him.
yeah, right, right,
I know
right.
you talking
Oh man,
Antonio
Nicolino
Cervantes.
Loche.
Yeah.
Nicolino Loche.
Nicolino Loche. Yeah,
Who do you
bad
think
boy.
would win from? Who do you think will win from Nicolino Loche, Pernell Whitaker, and what's that other guy? Willie Pep.
Woo! I
Those guys
don't
are all
know.
defensive.
It's a good. Well, Pep was too small.
Oh, okay, but I mean, if they're the same size, I mean, given the same, you know what I mean, the same skill. I mean, because they're all three very defensive.
Okay, so everybody's
I
fighting at lightweight. Say everybody's fighting
mhm,
at lightweight. I would
right.
have. I don't know.
I think I
That's
think
tough.
I
That's
think
a
I
tough one.
think I think
That's a
that I
tough
would
one.
have Whitaker because Whitaker he had very good combinations. I mean, he was the type of guy that he was in your face, but he would also throw. He was very good, man,
But you
throwing those
think he'd be
combinations.
able to throw those combinations against those
Well,
guys? Those
well,
guys,
see
he's
that's
gonna be
well see
missing. He's gonna
well
be
see that's the
missing a
thing.
lot of
You're right.
shots.
You're
They're
right. That's
defensive fighters.
right. You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, you're right.
So it's
That's that.
tricky. It's really tricky to. It's like Pep. Okay, Sandy Sadler beat him, but
Oh, that's right.
then
Sandy
you
Sadler,
have to
huh?
kind of bully him and rough him up, and you have to be dirty, and you have to hit low blows and butter him, bite
That'd be
him if you
interesting, huh?
can. It would be tough. If you're not a dirty fighter, you're probably not going to beat him. So it's tough. I mean, I don't know what would happen. That's a great question. That's a great
I want
question.
to
And you heard
because
about
it's
that
like
the hypothetical matchup between they said that who would win at 154 Canelo or Oscar De La Hoya. And
Woo.
a lot of people that's a good man. That's tough.
I
That's
still
a
give
tough
Canelo.
question.
I think Canelo would beat him. You know why?
He's more
Because Oscar
technical.
keeps on getting caught with those left hands. So Pacquiao, even if Oscar was full weight and Pacquiao wasn't really hurting, he would still get tagged, right?
Mhm.
So Pacquiao would still tag him and turn him. So I'm thinking Canelo's a really smart fighter, and he would use his jab to cut Oscar's defense to go to his body. Even though Oscar was a left hooker himself, I don't know, because Oscar was pretty good with the left hook. But he got tagged though. Oscar got tagged a lot more than Canelo. Canelo doesn't get tagged that much.
and
But he fought
I think
everybody, Oscar. So
he did, huh? Nowadays guys don't do that no more, huh?
that's something about Oscar. I give him
Now,
credit. He always brought the fight to you, and he always fought everybody. So
He fought everybody. He did.
nowadays guys don't want to fight each other no more, huh? It's a lot of politics. What do you guys think that is? It's just a different generation.
I don't
People
know.
are not fighting each other.
I don't know if they're not fighting each other or is it that they take a little while to fight each other. I don't know what it is exactly because right now I would have thought that at lightweight some lightweight would have stepped up and faced another young lightweight, but they haven't done that. But
Yeah,
at the same time, at bantamweight, they're fighting each other. At welterweight, they're kind of fighting each other except for Terrence Crawford, right? Now Sean Porter's
right.
facing Terrence Crawford. When you look at uh super welterweight, they're facing each other.
hmm
Super
That's true.
welterweight, they're
That's true.
facing each other. So it depends, I guess, on the weight class.
That's
Bivol
true.
is ready to face Bitabiev. He does. Let's get to work, right? So it
Hmm.
depends on the weight class. I think the hardest weight class is welterweight. Okay, they're okay, but lightweight, they're not really facing each other right now. But again, I
I'm gonna
can't
ask
be
you a
too.
question.
I don't
Who
know if
you
I'm
think?
mad at them or not. What do you think? Do you think
Who?
Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz is a better fight right now for Golden Boy because it's in house?
hmm
I
I think
think
that's a
it's
good
third
fight
because
right there.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
And who do you
I like.
think would win between Jojo Diaz and Ryan Garcia?
Oh, that's
Who do you think would win? I
man.
know
That's
who
tough.
I know who I think would win. I could think of from the top of my head. I would say Jojo Diaz, and I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
why.
really, Jojo? Huh?
Jojo
Wow.
Diaz, yeah, Jojo Diaz is he's no joke. You know how much tough fights he's been through. He lost to Frankie Gomez when he should have won. They didn't give him the split decision. Of course, he lost to Gary Russell Jr. Again, that was a tough fight for Gary Russell Jr.
hmm
He beat Tevin Farmer. Now, mind you, he started off at featherweight and he's moving up, right? He moved up from featherweight to super featherweight. He won a title there. He just jumped up to lightweight and he just beat a boogeyman there, a guy who's very difficult to fight, right? So
Hmm.
if you think about it, Jojo Diaz, and he walked him down, right? I
Better
think Jojo
resume,
Diaz
huh?
has all the skills in the world to beat Ryan Garcia and too much experience. I think Ryan is underestimating Jojo Diaz. He thinks he can knock him out. Wish you luck, buddy. That's not happening. Jojo Diaz is going to carry him to the brink. So he has to train like crazy because he's not ready for Jojo Diaz. He's just not. I don't think he's ready for Jojo. I
Do you
don't think
think
he knows who
Ryan?
Jojo is.
Where you think his career gonna go, Ryan Garcia? Because he
Oh,
looking like
he
he's
has
gonna
a
outgrow that class.
very promising career. Very promising career.
He look like he's
Just
gonna outgrow the that division so
yeah,
soon. So
he's a big,
just like
big, big
Timothy
lightweight.
Lopez,
Yeah,
he outgrew Timothy Lopez and Davis. They outgrew the 130 division because you could tell it's kind of, they struggle to make that weight. So
yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how good they do
All of them
tomorrow.
actually. Even Devin Haney, he's too big for the weight class as well. But they're just
hmm
kind of holding out, trying to make big fights. But they're all much bigger than
He's gonna have to
135.
eventually move up. Yeah, They
Yeah,
gonna
they
be
should just
they
move
gonna
up.
all be at 140 soon.
And then you have
So
Tank
Yeah.
Davis.
Tank should be at 140 as well. He's too big.
Oh, you think so? 40?
Yeah, I mean he's shrunk down to 130, but he's really a 140 pounder. All of those guys, Haney, Ryan Garcia, they should be at one. All of them should be at 140 right now. They shouldn't stay at 135. They're
Joshua is
big
140,
guys.
huh?
Ryan's a big. Ryan's 5'11 with a
Oh, I didn't know he was
17.
that
What?
tall.
He's
yeah,
tall. He's a
he's
big,
growing. Yeah,
big dude. He's really holding his weight down, but he's a big dude. That's why he has so much power. He at
They're
the end of the
weight
day,
bullies, huh?
yeah, he's a weight bully. He might end up at super middleweight when all is said and done. He may be a super middleweight. That's how big he is. He's
yeah, he's
big.
real big.
Yeah, he's a big dude. But they just manage their weight, and then they walk around maybe 160, maybe 165.
Hmm. I hope he flicks his
What?
flaws because we need because he'll a good entertainer. So he just need to fix his boxing ability. Because the other fight
Yeah.
against I forgot this other guy name
Luke
that he fought.
Campbell.
Campbell, yeah, Campbell, yeah. And
Campbell
he
dropped
got
him.
almost knocked out. He
He
got
got
hit
dropped,
with a
yeah,
shot, with a feint. He
What?
feinted,
What?
and then he boom hit him with it. Yeah,
with
What
the
do you guys
left
think
hook, yeah.
of?
yeah.
Crawford, man, Porter a fight coming up.
Woo!
It's an
I
interesting
don't know
fight,
who's
huh?
gonna win that. I don't know who's gonna win that. Don't ask me
The
that
Interesting
fight you
fight.
question.
said?
That's a fight again. I just need to see. I don't know who will win. And
What
all these
fight you said?
underdogs are winning these fights these days. Usyk, Ugas.
Yeah,
Early on this year, we had another upset. I can't remember which one it is.
Spencer,
So
Usyk versus Spence.
there you go.
not Spencer. Ugas Pacquiao was an upset, huh?
Yeah, Pacquiao was upset.
Mhm.
So you see, so anything could happen this year. Anything could happen.
Yeah. And like you
You
said,
know.
Ugas
maybe
surprised me,
Plant
man.
could
I
probably
wasn't expecting that. That
and
was
and like you
surprising
said,
right there, man. Yeah. I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
and like oh no, guys, sorry, and like you were saying, Plant, if Canelo is overconfident, he could lose to Plant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That'll be a
He
big
better not
upset.
think like he can't think like how the fans think. He has to think of this
Right,
dude
right.
as coming to try to get what he has, and he has to be more hungry than him, and ensure that that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he should just focus on the win. Just focus
Yep.
on the W.
Focus on the win. That's it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Porter Crawford. I mean, that's an interesting fight, man. It's kind of hard to call, because they both have their. One's a very technical fighter. The other one's kind of a jittery, a pressure fighter. I mean, they both have. Porter has good experience. Both of them have good experience. I don't know. It's an interesting fight, man. I was at first I thought Crawford, but then I'm thinking, Porter's. He has this. He could give him troubles too. He had that weird bob and weave type of, like side to
Right.
side, weird, like, I don't know what it is.
Yes,
It's like
he's
bob
very
and weave.
unorthodox.
Yeah, it's orthodox. So it's kind of hard to time. And I could
Time and
see he could
reading.
give. I could see why he could give Crawford problems.
Right. Exactly.
Do you guys
Because
think? Mhm. Go ahead.
Hello. Uh,
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, you
Virgo,
guys think
Virgo
Spence?
RT.
Oh,
Oh, you can go ahead. I'll say later.
no,
All
no.
right.
I would say. What do you guys think of Earl Spence? It sounds like his eye is big problems, huh?
Yeah. Uh,
Apparently he took off the patch and it seems as though his eyes healed now. That's the last post he had. So we'll see. I guess he'll have to test it out in sparring and stuff and see if it
Yeah.
holds up. Should
Because
be
I know
okay.
some fighters lost their eye because they kept boxing and get hit in the eye. It was this
Right.
MMA fighter. I forgot his name, Michael Benson or something like that. And he said that he kept holding the surgery off and he lost his eye. So
Well,
Oh wow,
thankfully,
man.
Plants
yeah,
did the surgery, so he should be fine.
yeah.
After it heals back, it should heal back well. You were saying something about Virgil Ortiz?
No,
Go
no.
ahead.
I think when he
What I'm
did.
talking about the Mexican guy. What's his name? They said that he was gonna make a fight against Crawford, the Mexican fighter
Virgil,
RT.
Oh, that's
Virgil.
that. Yeah, you're right.
RT.
That's Ortiz, Virgil Ortiz,
What you think
Virgil
about him?
Ortiz.
You think he
I I
you
I
think
I
he could
think
be
he
a
has
contender?
good power. The only thing with him is his defense is kind of like
He's
someone like
suspect.
Crawford. I think he could really like beat
Support that.
Virgil because it's just the technical
The
boxer,
defense.
and then it's
Yeah.
kind of like you have power over a technician, and his defense
Right.
is I mean, it's improved, but it sounds like he's kind of easy to
Mm-hmm.
hit. And
Cause they say he
that's
almost got
but
knocked out by some guy.
I think he got rocked. I think he got rocked good. If
Rock,
you
yeah,
look at the
not
fight,
almost not, yeah.
or he was rocked good. And then when
Mhm.
if you look, he threw a big punch and I think he fell by himself. If you look at the fight
Mhm.
in slow motion, you'll see that when he
Right.
threw the punch, he the momentum is why he dropped, not because of the but he did get rocked for sure. But see that's the
Yeah,
thing.
the guy's Mean Machine,
Cabalas
Yeah, Mean
Mean
Machine.
Machine.
Yeah.
That's it. Mean
Cavaliaskis,
Machine.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Cavaliaskis
yeah,
with
for
a
sure.
short right hand up the
Yep.
center,
Yep, and then rocked him, and if he was a
stunned him.
better
Yeah,
boxer combination, boom, knock him out.
yeah, but
But
he
it's
came back
interesting.
hard. I mean,
He
after
did.
that,
Oh, for sure.
he
He
came
did.
back super hard on him,
Oh, for sure. That's
and he did
that's.
make an adjustment. He started to dip
Oh,
under
for
the
sure.
shot.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Mhm.
And his
yeah, he
trainer
did
was
that.
in the corner too. Remember, his main trainer, Garcia. He wasn't in his corner that night either. But either way, I'm
Right.
glad he got caught because that tells us I mean, you need to get rocked like that. You need to get hit hard, see how you react, type of thing. Because when you take on Crawfords, the Spencers, and the big elite fighters in the category, you need that type of like you need that type of experience, and how do you
Experience.
deal with it, and how do you make adjustments, and so forth.
Right. Exactly. I think he's good. I mean, it's just that I don't know if he's ready for Terrence as yet. He's
Oh,
saying he's ready,
yeah, right.
but I don't think
He
he's
Yeah,
said he might
ready.
be ready, yeah,
I,
but not now. Yeah.
I don't think he's ready myself. I just I know he's. I mean, I like his attitude, wanting to fight these guys,
Right.
but I just I don't. I think Oscar will keep him away for a couple fights. I mean, Oscar's smart enough to know that he's not ready for the
Right.
Crawfords of the world.
Yeah. I think that he'd give Crawford a decent run for his money, but I just
Right.
don't think he's ready for him as
Yeah.
yet.
No.
I think Sean's perfect for Crawford
Mhm.
because
Who
Sean
is?
And
has a
another
lot of
fight too.
experience.
Yeah, and
Right.
another
Oh, Sean.
fighter.
Oh, for sure, Sean. Yeah, Sean Porter for sure. It's
You
it's
said
Another
another
he,
fight?
other undefeated fighter. Gabriel Martinez. What's his name? I can't pronounce it. Martinez. He's 40 something and old. So what you think
I
about
never
him?
heard
You
of him.
think I
40 something,
forgot
you
his
know?
name. His name
Sergio Martinez?
no, it's he a Mexican fighter. Like, well, he
Okay.
promoted under Oscar. He undefeated. He like 40 something and old. I forgot. I can't pronounce his name.
Who is
Gabriel.
it?
Gabriel.
I think I know. You're talking about the tall 175-pounder guy, right?
Mhm.
The left hand, El Zurdo,
Yeah. Mhm.
right?
Oh,
He was a
Sergio.
champion.
Sergio.
Yeah, El Zurdo,
Oh,
right?
what's his name?
The,
Ramirez.
yeah,
Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Yeah.
They call him
Jose
El
Ramirez.
Zurdo. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
El Zurdo Ramirez. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's a good, solid champion, but I don't see anything like anything. He doesn't have that something special. I mean, I just think he was a good, solid. He's just a good, solid fighter. But I just if he has 40 something whatever wins, and he hasn't really done much. I mean, that just he hasn't really fought. I think like I know he was a champion at 168, and then he went up to 175. But
Right.
Mhm.
to me, I mean, he's not really proven himself to be like an elite type of boxer. He's not a pound for pound guy.
Well, he's not pound for pound, but he's a good fighter, man. He's
Oh,
solid.
for
And
sure, for sure. Oh
Southpaw.
no, he's solid. I think you're right.
I think
That's.
he could give a lot of people problems. You know.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
He
Oh
beat
no, for
he
sure.
beat Jesse Hart. He beat Jesse Hart,
Yep.
remember?
Yeah, he
And
did. He did.
so I would like to look forward to seeing him match up with some more fighters at 175. That'd be
Yep.
good. Maybe
I think if.
maybe
Yep.
Badu Jack or somebody like that.
I agree. I agree. I think he needs the Badu Jackson's role in there, and that other guy, another guy, Golden Boy guy. I forgot his name, and he was he's a 160 guy. Another Mexican guy. I forgot his name.
Benitez. But
Uh,
Oh,
no.
you talking about? I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. He used to Canelo. Eric Morales is training him right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's right.
uh,
Him.
he was at 154, right? He was a WBO
Right.
champion at 154.
Yep. I
Uh,
think he needs. I think he needs to step up and fight the Triple G's, the Charlos, Boo Boo Andrade. I think Boo Boo will beat him though. But I think he should step up to 160 now. I think. What do you guys think? I think he's okay, solid, but
Mungia.
I don't see anything.
Javier Munguia.
Yeah, that's Jaime Munguia. That's right. That's right. Jaime
Mhm.
Munguia. I think I don't know, man. I think he's solid, but I mean, he hasn't really. He was champion at 154, but he beat a smaller guy.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I still, for me, he's still not really proven. I think
but
I think he needs those signature.
yeah, he's still growing as a
Yeah,
fighter.
growing.
So
I know he
if
used to
he,
get hit a lot.
yeah, yeah. But he's learning to get his defense
Yeah.
better
Oh,
and
for
to
sure.
mount
Oh
his
no,
jab and
he's improved.
yeah.
He's improved. It's just interesting fight on the road. What do you guys think of Boo Boo, man? Boo Boo Andrade.
Oh man, I
I like him,
dude
yeah.
gets ducked so much. Oh my
I know,
gosh.
man. I feel sorry for the guy. He gets stuck a lot. Canelo was
Oh
supposed to fight
man.
him. I think at 160, Boo
Yeah,
Boo was the last belt that he needed to make that
yeah.
fight. I think the IBF belt, no,
Cause
the
he's a high risk,
WBO.
low reward. If you beat him, then that's
Yeah, that's
good.
true.
But
That's true.
if he beat you
Yeah,
get what I'm saying? It's just
yeah,
like
no,
Pretty Boy
I
Floyd. When
right.
Pretty Boy
Yep.
Floyd was boxing people at the lower weight class, nobody
Mhm.
wanted to
Right,
fight him. Oscar
Right.
Moses, none of them. Cause he
Yeah.
would have been a lower risk, high reward, basically. So
Yep.
right.
It was kind of like a Riggindale. Remember Riggindale? It's a low risk.
Yeah, Guillermo
Yeah.
Rigondeaux.
Hmm.
To this day, people still bad talking Rigondeaux. He's a difficult fight. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
difficult
nobody
fight.
wanted to fight him until he got basically. Then he had to move up and fight Lomachenko. So, and
Well,
that was
yeah.
Right.
He
And
was just
how old is
too
he now?
small for
40,
Lomachenko.
40 years old, something like that?
Yeah, like
hmm
40 years old, and he still moves. Damn, I mean, he moved
I'm
around a
telling
lot
you.
in those fights, but he still had. I mean, good for him.
hmm
What do you guys think of Ugas, man? Ugas is a champion at
Brilliant.
147.
Brilliant
You know,
fighter.
Fire.
I think he should go for an dispute at 147.
Yeah, well, I think if Pacquiao is not retired, then he probably do the
He
rematch with Pacquiao.
Pacquiao's
But
Well,
retired.
he
other than
36, so he got to basically get it now. So he ain't
Yeah, he
really
has to
got
get it
time to
now
wait.
because he's getting up there
Yeah.
in age.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's 35.
Yep.
35.
But I think he should. I
34, I
think he
think.
should.
30. Oh, he 34.
Okay,
Oh, well, I'm
okay.
34, 35, something like that. Something like
Yeah,
that.
he's 35. I
34,
think.
35.
So he's older fighter.
Yeah,
But
but
Usyk
he should have
Usyk
gotten.
come out
He
late,
should have
basically.
two of his losses. He shouldn't have gotten. They again like Jojo Diaz. He should have won two fights that they just didn't see him as the A side, so he didn't get the decision. But he should have gotten. He should have had two losses, not four.
Not 4. But
To me, he beat Porter. I watched that
He
Porter
beat
fight.
people
To me,
argue he beat
in my
Porter,
opinion,
and then the other one was a earlier fight with another known
Delaria or
opponent. I
something.
can't remember the guy's name right now. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I know
very
about this.
good. He's very good. He's a bronze medalist Olympian.
yeah,
So he's very
technical
very good.
fighter, technical fighter.
Oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
think he
I
one of those
think I think
fighters that can surprise you. Yeah, you don't know about him until you fight him. He surprised you.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah. No,
I actually picked Pacquiao to beat him, so I
me
got that
too.
one
I thought he
wrong,
was. I ain't gonna lie. I
and
did too.
you know what?
he
To be honest,
just
at
put on a
first,
clinic.
to be honest, at first, my gut told me Ugas, and then I listened to all the people, and I went with the flow, and and then okay, I'm gonna go with Pacquiao this and that, and then but at first, honestly, I had Ugas in my mind and in my stomach. I just thought he was taller, and I just thought he would win the first time, like at first, and then I
Wow.
just got swayed by the public, and
Mhm.
then I went with
Yeah,
Pacquiao.
I looked at him and everything, his style. I saw where he got dropped in two earlier fights. And I was saying, oh, if he get dropped there, Pacquiao's gonna just have a field day with him.
It,
So I thought, that would happen,
Mhm.
and
you,
that did
you
not happen.
well, and you know what changed my mind is because well, I mean, it was only 10 days to 10 days. Remember, he only had 10 days to
Mhm.
study Pacquiao, and then he had like a bruise on his muscle. Remember, he had like a
Ah,
like
yeah.
a bump,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah,
me, I was like,
I
oh
think
man,
he
this guy's
busted
injured.
his bicep or something because
Yeah, the
it
bicep.
looked like it rolled
Mm,
down on the left arm, right arm,
yeah,
left arm.
and to me, that was like, oh man, that's the thing. Actually, the other thing that really swayed me. I'm like, well, he's injured now, and he only had 10 days to prepare, and then the injury. It's like you know what I mean. I just saw the option just close up on Uga. I'm glad. I'm very very happy for him, and I'm very happy that he got the win.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's huge for him. Now he's a household name. People thinking about him. He's the top three
You
welterweight
know,
in the world
and
now.
Cuba. You know what I mean for doing it for Cuba, and you know
Oh
the way
yeah,
he was
yeah,
struggling.
for
These
sure.
guys they have a hard time coming over to the United States, and
A good fight
his
for him.
family's over there.
Mhm. A good fight for him
Great
will
fight.
be probably Virgil Ortiz. That'll be a good fight too.
Oh,
Woo!
yeah,
That'll be a good
yeah.
fight.
Mhm. I
I
That's
could
a
like
see
that.
good
that those
fight.
long arms, technical fighter. I could see that. You know, I could see Ugas. I think right now Ugas. I think all the I think Ugas. I just don't think Ortiz is ready for those guys right now, man. I just think
Yeah, he's not ready
I
yet.
I just don't think because these guys are elite. You know, he's a good right now. He's a very very top contender, but I think for that championship type of level, he needs a couple more fights. You know,
Mhm.
work on
Just
some
about
stuff.
one more or two more fights and he's there
Right,
because he's been
and he's
blowing
there.
through the
Yep,
competition.
that's
He
true.
just
That's
been
true.
knocking out the
He
Yeah, that's
beat
competition.
the
true.
So
competition.
Yep, he does have that huge knockout power. I mean, that's the thing that you know you got when you're Mike Tyson. You know, you got that knockout, Tank when he did to Mario Barrios. Just he at that
yeah,
11th round, just wham bam, knockout. You know, and just
that
knocked
was
him out.
terrible.
That was. I mean, honestly, in that fight, I thought he was winning Barrios by 1 or 2 points, and then that knockout just boom, just really like just that was an
Barrios was
impressive
boxing
win.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah, he boxed him well, you know, and I think and Barrios and I mean Barrios Tank just
Mhm.
ended it with that one punch, crazy knockout, just pow, and
Barrios
it
is
was
kind of underrated, you know. I
He's
think
very
when he,
good. He's good.
I think when he fought Tank, a lot of people like they just assumed because they ain't not many people knew him. Just like when Charlo fought this other guy, the 154 Charlo, he fought
oh the
that part, the G.
Castaño
Yeah,
Brian
Castaño?
Castaño.
not
Yep.
many people know Casano was that good. So then they
Castaño's
was just saying Charlo.
bad.
Yeah, he a good
He
fighter, man. That's
yep. He fought
I
Lara,
said
I think, and
those
then
type of fighters
mhm.
scare you because you like, man, I
Castaño
see
beat
something in this
Lara,
fighter.
in my opinion. He beat
Right. You
Lara,
know,
but he
a
doesn't
lot of
get the
people,
decision.
right,
Decision, yeah. To me,
right.
he beat Lara.
A lot of people, had you know, like you're right. A lot of people thought that Lara had. I mean, not Lara. Castaño had won that fight. But hey, you know,
Yeah, I thought
it makes it
Castaño won
interesting, huh?
that fight. I thought he beat
Right.
Charlo as well. I thought he beat Charlo, and I thought he beat Erislandy Lara.
Hmm.
Who
Yeah.
who would win? For some reason, man, I think Charlo might win the rematch. It's just if they fought again with Castaño, it's just the high pressure going in.
Hmm.
It's good
Think
that
so?
you always get rocked.
Hmm.
Hmm. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be
I
another
wish
close
him the
fight.
best. I wish him the
Yeah.
best, but
It's gonna be a
Castaño is
close
a different kind of animal.
Do you think the rematch will happen at 154 with Charlo?
I hope so. I think Charlo wants it.
Yeah, I
I
mean it's
like
a
that
big.
small Charlo, man. The 154. He
Oh, for
really he.
sure. I
I
think you're
want that
right. I
older
think the
Charlo to fight
154.
people now. What you think
The
about the older
the
Charlo, him versus Benitez? Who you think get that?
Woo,
That's a
woo, that's a
50-50
tough
fight.
fight for Charlo. Moving up in weight, if he's moving up in weight
No,
to
not
face
I talking about the
Benitez,
bigger.
huh?
I talking about the bigger Charlo, right? It's he
Yeah,
160.
the
Oh, okay, he was
160.
tough.
If he goes up to 168 to face David
It'll be
Benavidez,
it'll be
wow,
tough. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be a tough fight for him.
Hmm.
man.
But if
I think
David Benavidez comes down to
yeah.
160,
No.
I'm
Oh
It'll
picking
no
be
no
him. I'm
Charlo.
Charlo
picking Charlo to
Charlo.
win. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
He'll
too
be
much
too
too much.
drained. Like his body,
Yep.
his
yeah,
body
he'd
can't
be
take
good.
that weight. He can
It's like
barely
when.
make
Exactly.
168 too, so
Hmm.
he's
Yeah.
struggling to make that.
I think Benavidez is the weight bully.
Yeah, he's big,
He's big,
tremendous.
He's a big boy,
big
yeah.
sucker. I think he's a weight bully, huh?
Yeah, he could easily go to cruiserweight and fight.
Yeah, because he missed weight one time and he
He's
lost the
big.
belt. He was like 3 pounds
Yeah,
over and he couldn't make the weight.
yeah. He's a
He gonna
big
eventually
boy.
get at
He,
175.
he's he's the number 1 contender for the WBC. So if Canelo wins the plant fight, he might fight
Face
Benavidez
Benavidez.
next.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's technically he the real undisputed, basically. So if he fight, because he got script, and didn't Benitez get script of his title?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think
Against
I
the
think I
Canelo.
think drugs, cocaine, or something like that in the
Yeah,
system. I
yeah,
think he did
The first
cocaine.
time
I
was
think.
cocaine. The second time was weight.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Man, see, that's the thing, man. These guys, man, I don't understand how you could lose weight
Lack
and then lose
discipline.
your belt. It's like
Yeah.
you're giving a belt away for. I mean, it's like you work so hard for it. It's like make the weight,
yeah.
man. And it's like I mean, that's man.
But I
That's
That's the
think
not
problem
Canelo
with
focus, you know.
Benavidez. He doesn't have the discipline. You look at
Hmm.
the Charlos, you look at anybody else, they have discipline, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I don't ever see if he was to face Caleb Plant, which is another fight I would love to see. Um, I think Plant would beat him because Plant's so much more disciplined than he is mentally.
yeah.
He's not
And
disciplined.
yeah, and he has that slick, huh? He has that slickness. He has good
Yeah, Plant,
footwork.
but
Plant.
Plant's stronger than you think. He's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a
Mhm.
strong guy. And if you look
I've been
at
following
his,
Plant for a long time. Yeah. So
I'm a Caleb Plant fan as I'm a Canelo fan. That's why I'm not picking who's going to win. But I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a good fight, and we'll see who wins. But I can tell you this: Caleb Plant is very much like Andre Ward in this sense.
mhm.
He is very. If you notice, he's not a guy that jokes around. You can
Yeah,
see
he's
he's
serious.
dialed in, very focused. Yeah, very serious kind of guy. Very dialed in, very focused on what he has to do. So that's what makes Caleb Plant, I think, a problem for anybody in
Dangerous,
the
huh?
division.
And
He's extremely
Ward is
But I
dangerous.
helping
think
him.
the experience. I think Canelo. I picked Canelo because of the experience. He been in there with so many Mayweather. He
Yeah.
been in there with so many guys.
Right.
Like so, his
Yeah.
Yeah,
experience. Like
I see that, but I see also the skills of Caleb Plant that can. It's kind of like experience is good, but then if another guy has skills and
yeah, yeah,
he
and
has a
strong.
certain degree of what's the word I'm looking for? He has people around him who could kind of sort of
Feed
compensate
him
for the
back.
experience. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like the fact that he has Andrew Ward he could talk to, the fact that he has all these old school guys in the background you guys are not seeing who teach him boxing besides his father that you're not seeing, right?
Hmm.
Those guys also will show him certain things and help him to understand. So they'll understand. I think he knows already what Canelo's style is. So he knows what Canelo's style is. So he knows what he has to go in there and do to sort of offset that style. He knows that already.
Hmm.
And Canelo also knows what he has to do to deal with it. The question is, can they execute it? And they
Yeah. That's
actually, when
true.
they go in the ring, can they execute that?
You know what?
Right?
When in the press conference, I think told me that it told me a different story, but that's just the press conference. But that was
Actually, the press
interesting to see,
conference
man.
should be they're evenly matched because the thing with Caleb Plant is he's not the obvious kind of guy. So Caleb Plant, Canelo pushed Caleb Plant slapped Canelo slapped Caleb Plant twice, Caleb Plant hit him with a body shot. If you think about it, 2-2. Just one was very obvious. Everybody saw Canelo slap Caleb Plant, break his glasses. But the other part what Caleb Plant did was subtle. Wasn't something only Canelo knows the truth about that situation because he sent the message to Canelo. He didn't send it to us. He didn't
Well,
want
you know
us.
what?
He didn't care about
This makes it an interesting fight because it's good to see a fight that has that back and forth. Because now I'm hearing back and forth, back
it.
and forth.
Right,
It's good to see that because you have that chess match. You have that,
right,
whereas before it was one side, but now I'm
right.
seeing I'm
Exactly.
seeing like a 50-50. People say 50 here, 50 there, and people make good cases both sides. So it's interesting. I'm glad it's
Hmm.
and then you have Ward in there for sure. Ward is going to show him different tricks, and Ward is one of the best when he did it.
Right. I'm not saying Caleb Plant wins this fight at all. All I'm
Right,
saying
right,
is it's
right,
nicely matched up. It's like
right,
there's
Yeah.
right.
there's there's a guy
Competitive.
going for something, but there is resistance.
Oh no, that's good, and I think that's what people want. People
I
don't
love
want to
it.
see a blowout fight in 2 3 rounds and no competition.
Nah,
I think people want to be entertained at least show eight
competitive
nine
fight.
rounds
Yeah,
of you know.
yeah.
No, I think people do want to see that. They want to see the what is Caleb. What is his footwork, hands, and everything, and what is that going to do when you have a pound for pound fighter in Canelo, and Canelo can keep up. So both. I mean, it's interesting. It makes it interesting for sure. It's like a nail biter at some point. Like Billy Joe Saunders was doing pretty good against Canelo, man,
Yeah.
until he got stopped with.
Fourth, fifth, and sixth round were good for Billy Joe Saunders, but it was too
Yeah,
late.
no, he was He was doing very good. I thought at the time I wouldn't have been surprised if Billy Joe would have beat Canelo because he just has that. He had that. He's a
I
slick
don't think he
guy.
ever would have. You know, the
You
two
don't think so?
reasons he lost that fight. He lost the fight before it even started. He didn't attend the press conference. He
Okay.
didn't attend the face-off. The moment I saw him, and then he made all these excuses how, he trying to call off the fight. I knew he didn't want that fight. He had cold feet. So I knew he didn't have the confidence to beat Canelo. And the fight went that way. It began with Canelo landing body shot after body shot after body shot for 4 straight rounds. He's landing body shots and walking this guy down. Then Billy Joe Saunders suddenly realizes, wait a minute, I can box this guy, right? And he starts to change levels and stuff. And he takes round 5, takes round 6. And then round 7, Canelo takes back over.
Hmm.
Because what? He's gassed. Round 5 and 6, he's tired. He's breathing hard because Canelo invested to the body early in the fight.
Early. Yeah.
And then Billy Joe Saunders is not the most well-conditioned guy. He blows up in weight between fights.
Billy Joe was
He's,
supposed to
again,
fight Boo Boo.
discipline. You're not, your discipline doesn't tell me that you're serious about what you're saying. I know Caleb Plant is coming. Wherever Caleb Plant says, he means it. He's 100%. He means what he says because he's disciplined. He will do what it takes to try to make possible what he says out of his mouth.
No, I agree with you. With his mom being shot by the cops, and I think he lost his
Right.
daughter. He has a lot of motivation, and then
Yeah,
people are underestimating him. I think he does. He has all of that builds up. You know, it's like when Mike Tyson,
motivation.
Buster Douglas was, I
Right.
will not lose.
Exactly.
And I think his mom I think his mom has passed away. He said he was very driven by that or something like that. By his
Yeah.
mom
'Cause I
or
watched the documentary.
and yeah, and the Buster Douglas, and he said, "I would not lose that fight," and that's what he had. And look at that, man, a 40-1 dog, and he knocked out Mike Tyson.
Mhm.
Yeah,
A
he
big upset,
knocked
a big
That's
out.
upset.
crazy.
That's unfathomable. He knocked out
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Tyson. He
People
didn't just
thought
yeah.
beat
Tyson was
him. He
invincible.
knocked him out.
People thought Tyson was invincible, man. Like it's,
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see Mike Tyson get knocked out. To be honest, you know, I didn't. That's how bad. That's how big it was. You know, like that's how
And of
shocking.
all
And even
people,
now,
Buster
even now,
Douglas.
even now, I still don't like to watch that fight because I don't like to see Mike Tyson get knocked out. You know? I like Mike Tyson.
yeah, that was the biggest upset in probably boxing. I wouldn't say was
Yep.
that the biggest upset in boxing history. You think so?
I think,
41.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know yet. Yeah,
That was a pretty big upset because it shook the
Yeah.
it
whole
was.
world. Mike Tyson was a big name in boxing,
Hmm.
Mhm.
a global superstar, and this guy used to get people out of there in minutes.
Man.
Yep. Just
That
bam.
was the great thing about Tyson. Tyson, you go in the ring before the first round
30
is over,
seconds.
you don't know if the person's knocked out or not.
Because
Because
people
it
was
don't
mad at
last
him.
long. The fights don't last long, but it's spectacular knockouts.
People was mad at him because they say they pay $100, they pay whatever so and so to see him fight, and it only lasts 30 seconds. So
Yep.
and I say, you know how people pick and choose because they say this certain guy is born for going 12 rounds, but then when Tyson fought, he knocked him out in 30 seconds. They say it was too quick. So fans don't know what they want. You get what I'm
No,
saying?
no,
Like,
no.
so,
But man,
Yep.
I'm gonna say I was a Tyson fan, huge Tyson fan back in the 90s.
oh, you are?
That dude used to bring the thunder, man.
Yeah.
And people were terrified of him. They were terrified of
Oh,
him.
for sure. Yeah.
They were terrified of the guy. And he coming without socks. Just had on shoes, no socks.
Mm-hmm.
Coming with his baggy pants. And he
Yeah. Mike
ready to
Tyson,
go.
man.
Because
And he was grinding the mouth guard.
Spinks was scared of him.
Yes.
You
I saw
watch that fight again.
Spinks.
Spinks was like,
Yeah.
he's
That was
terrified.
scary. That was scary. The eyes
Terrified.
rolling
Larry
white,
Holmes was
man. It was.
terrified too.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean,
So they lost
you
before
guys were around.
they got in the ring. Yeah. So once you
Yeah,
terrified like that, you lose because you don't think
Yeah.
you don't think what
you
you're
know
gonna
that. There were a few guys I saw, like Tony Tucker. This is in Tyson's heyday. Tony Tucker outboxed him. It was good stuff. It was a close fight,
do.
But it's very few guys. I mean, Riz, what's the old guy name?
But you seen glimpses of
Yeah, Yeah, where
So people
guys
start,
stood up to him and they didn't get knocked out or anything, but he still beat them. But Bone Crusher Smith, I never forget that. Bone Crusher Smith was a bad heavyweight. He was knocking out everybody, and Tyson faced him, and Tyson knocked him down, I think, once.
mhm.
And Bone Crusher was fighting back right up to the final bell. So I saw guys stand up to Tyson, and I said, "Wow, amazing," because I didn't like Bone Crusher Smith at the time. But
I like the
I
name.
look back at it. I was a big Tyson fan, man. I saw him break a guy's jaw. I
Mhm.
never forget that. Skinny guy with Jerry curls. And Tyson just hit him with a left hook, and the guy just went. And I said, "Good God!" I never found out guy had a broken jaw. He broke the guy's jaw with a punch. I remember he used to punch through walls. Mike Tyson used to punch through walls, and he used to punch the punching bag until the stuffing comes out and stuff. I was like, "Good God Almighty!" You know, Mike Tyson. Yeah, everybody. That's when everybody thinks of Mike Tyson, they think of that Mike Tyson.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I mean, the legend of Mike Tyson and the actual reality
the
of Mike Tyson.
drama.
Yeah, it's two different things.
Yeah. So people look at
He,
that, what he did, like, like his aura around him, the baddest man, the most ruthless, vicious,
Right.
animalistic. They look at that, but then they
Yeah.
don't really see you need he said it's a thinking man sport. It's not a tough man sport, it's a thinking man
Right.
sport. Tyson
Right.
said himself,
It's still a
I
brutal sport, but you have to
think
be
yeah.
smart. Yeah, you have to be smart in the ring. So, a lot of people say, "But Mike Tyson would have beaten Lennox Lewis or Evander." No, he wouldn't have beaten. They would just, they were the perfect nemesis for him. Kind of like Pacquiao with Marquez. Marquez is like a nemesis of Pacquiao. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Pacquiao, if he goes and fights Marquez tomorrow, it's going to be a tough fight.
Just like
Always.
Tarver versus Roy Jones. Like
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. That's a
Tarver
tough
beat
fight.
Roy Jones in amateurs. They say twice, didn't he? Two. So
Yeah, in the amateurs, that's correct.
he was so
So,
he
Roy still
basically
can get a one up on him to this
because I'm
day.
from Florida, so yeah. So
Roy
Yeah.
Jones
Tarver,
was
So,
hmm,
what you said?
no. So
Antonio
Roy
Tarver,
Jones
like
was another phenomena. Remember him?
mhm.
Roy
Yeah,
Jones Jr.
Oh yeah,
Roy Jones, yeah.
Roy Jones, fantastic fighter, man. Called fights tonight. It was good. It's
That
good
was
to hear
crazy
him.
when he got knocked out. He was just like it was odd how he got knocked out because
Yeah,
he just it was easy. It's like he got hit, boom, he just laid down. So
Yeah, I don't know if you guys
people
ever saw
wonder,
Ludoval versus him.
mm-hmm,
You remember when Ludoval knocked him out, knocked him down?
yeah, mm-hmm,
Same kind of knockout. He just went boom, and he just got limp
yeah.
when he got caught with the shot.
It's like people say that um people think about they debate whether his chin was suspect. Like they don't really know whether he went to heavyweight and came back down, whether it was that
right.
was his chin
Heavyweight.
suspect
Mm-hmm.
forever. He just never
I
got hit
think I
because he
think
was so
it's
good.
I think if you hit him a certain place, he just goes
Hmm.
to sleep. That's just the way it goes.
Hmm. To me, yeah,
Because
I think that too.
Ludoval hit him when he was in his prime, and he just went limp immediately. So there's a certain place when you hit him a certain place in his head, somehow it rattles the brain or whatever and just knocks him out,
Because a
or
lot
at
of
least
people
he's
say his chin
unconscious
was
from it.
suspect. Yeah, a lot of people say his chin was suspect. That's
A
why he
certain
basically
part,
got to get
it's
hit.
where it's everybody. There's nothing you can do about it. It's your nervous system, right?
Hmm.
So depending, some people get hit in the top of their head. Their chin is solid as gold. They get hit in the top of their head. They go to sleep,
They go to
right?
sleep.
So it depends on like where you hit somebody in their body. Sometimes the nervous
Certain
system just
people have
shuts
a
down.
sensitive spot. Yeah, and
Yeah,
certain people get hit in the body, they go down.
right.
Just like the guy that go fight Erison Lubin, he always gets stopped to the body. He fought Erison Lubin the last fight. Um, he got knocked out to the body like a couple times.
Right.
You know
Who
what I'm
was
talking
that
about?
guy again? I'm
Like
trying to
he's
remember.
yeah, I know he's some from the Caribbean or something like that. Is but
Who
but
was the guy
I
again?
but I
Was that
saw him.
Jackson? Was it a Jackson? One
Um,
of Julian Jackson's
I
sons?
don't know,
No. No.
but I saw him get stopped a couple times to the body or something like that. So it's just
There you
certain
go.
people go down a certain place. So
The
Yeah.
body snatcher.
mhm.
McCollum,
Mike
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 McCollum.
McCollum.
Yeah, that's it. Another old school technical.
He
A
was
lot of people were
I
scared
like
of him
McCollum.
too. Yeah, yeah.
I like that fight with McCollum and Julian Jackson. I like it because
Hmm.
it's a bully. It's a high punch out guy like Mike Tyson against a
Hmm.
technical fighter. I like to see those fights where you have one extreme of the other. You have a
Yeah,
highly
right.
technical boxer against a guy that will knock you the heck out in one punch, and it's always nice. How do you fight someone like that? You know,
like
and there's
that.
the answer. You know?
Hmm.
Exactly.
So
Well, that
I think the fight was
Because
stopped a little
every
bit
fight he
too
lost,
soon.
yeah. Because it's crazy. Every fight he lost, Julian Jackson, he got knocked out, right? And every fight
yeah.
he won,
Yeah,
he knocked everybody out.
yeah, I think
That's
so.
that's crazy. That's a weird boxing career. I ain't
That's kind
never
of like
seen that.
Gomez. That's like
Yeah.
Wilfredo Gomez. Remember the Puerto Rican guy?
Yeah,
He lost to Asuma Nelson and Salvador Sanchez. I think all his losses were knockout. He was a high
that's
big
right.
puncher.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's because probably the amount of weight you're putting behind the punch, if somebody counters you,
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
gonna
knock out.
knocked out.
Yeah, you're gonna knock out. So you go big. You win big, you lose big.
That's the way it goes, man.
Like the
Yeah,
Marquez punch. Pacquiao came in with a lot of force. That that was
right.
a that was
Boom.
a scary tale, man. That
That
was a
was
scary
a
Yeah.
tremendous punch.
Yep. That was a
man.
That was a tremendous knockout. I don't think that'll ever
Marquez was
happen
on.
again
Yeah.
to any
Marquez
fighter like
was to me. Marquez was. It seemed like he was hurt in the fifth or sixth round, huh? He was limping. He was. I think he was on the verge of getting knocked out himself, huh?
that. Yep.
Yeah.
In the
He
sixth
was.
round,
He
yeah.
didn't look good. In the sixth round,
Yeah.
Marquez was just limping. He was. To
It
me, it looked
seemed
like he
like
was.
he get better. Yeah. He get better when he got well, you get what I'm saying. He got
Yeah.
knocked out
If you
three
get
Yeah.
times.
hurt, you hurt Marquez, it's like you now starting something because he just gets more animated and he's ready to
Man,
just fight even more
remember
to the
That's
death.
what Floyd
the
said,
first
yeah. Because when Floyd knocked
the
him
first.
down, he said he thought he was gonna knock him out. But he said that
Right.
Yeah.
he just
Yeah. Me
kept
too.
coming. He kept.
I thought Floyd was gonna knock out Marquez.
Hmm.
To be honest,
Yeah,
I was
Marquez was
surprised.
He
a
just keep coming, yeah.
He made it through.
Hmm.
Marquez is tough. I gotta tell you that.
Yep.
And he has
He
the
never got
Three
knocked
defense.
out.
times in a round and still almost going to fight. That's great. That's remarkable, man. Remember, he got
Yeah.
3 times in the first Pacquiao fight. Like he was just
Yeah. He got
getting
dropped
Yeah,
three
matched up,
times.
kept getting matched up.
A
yeah. He
broken nose, I
got
think.
beat up
And
really bad in the first
man,
round.
can you
And he
imagine
came back
coming?
To basically draw the fight.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's crazy. I like that fight just because of the coming back. You know, the heart. You
Hmm.
know, busted up in the first round, and you still got the drive to go 12 rounds.
Because he's the first guy to actually stop Pacquiao's winning streak where he was just knocking out guys left, right, and center.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
That's
was the
true.
first fighter. Everybody else was getting licked up. Pacquiao went through Barrera, uh, Leo Dewaba. He went through Hussein. He was going through everybody. And then
Morales beat
he
him
met
once. Remember?
Marquez.
Morales beat him once. Remember?
Yeah, Morales, yeah. He beat him one time, yeah.
That was after.
After.
Oh,
That's after
after?
he faced Marquez.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah,
So
I thought
after.
it was
Marquez,
before.
he faced Marquez at featherweight. So after he had beat Barrera, Marquez was the unified featherweight champion. He faced Marquez.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't know. I
oh,
thought it
I
was
ain't know that.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So, and Marquez was the first guy to resist him and actually fight to a draw. And Pacquiao was knocking out everybody. And then after that, he bounced up Morales at, I think it was super featherweight. He bounced up Morales at super featherweight, and Morales beat him after that. Yeah. The great Manny
Retired, huh?
Pacquiao. Do you guys think? What do you think of Manny Pacquiao's career? What do you think? Is he a great fighter? Is he just a fake? Is he
I think he all
legit?
time great.
He's an all-time
I'm gonna
great.
be
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I think and not only here, but a lot of boxers uh, I remember back in the day there was a lot of like and not only this is not picking on Pacquiao. This is all fighters. Okay, there were a lot of you know like you select the fighters and no I mean he's an all time great for sure, man. You know but you know like there was I remember 'cause following the whole career, not the whole career, but seeing the whole storyline. Um, the, I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna say, but no, he's an all-time great man. He is for sure. I'm not gonna. I can't take that away from him. It's what six,
Absolutely, I
eight
agree.
divisions, 8 divisions, huh?
Yeah,
Eight
he went
divisions.
through 8 divisions as a champion, six as a world champion, two as a lineal champion, which is really good.
Right. Now,
But I
let
mean,
me ask you. That's what I'm glad you know that because a lot of people don't know what you said. Does that make him a legit eight division or a six eight division? Because he
it
does
makes him a
have
legit 8 division champion.
eight
Yeah,
divisions.
not
He
world
does.
champion because world. So you have major world champions, you have minor world champions, blah 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 blah. So the long and short of it is, when we talk about a world champion, we talk about somebody who has won any one of the four major sanctioning bodies, uh, major sanctioning bodies titles, right?
Right.
So if
Hmm.
it's WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF, anything that causes you to become undisputed, that is a major world title. So he won six of his divisional titles were those titles. But then he had two divisions where the champion at the time, the lineal champion that is, didn't have a belt. Were either vacated their belt or they were stripped of their belt. So as a result of that, those two extra divisions, I think it's super lightweight and featherweight, those two divisions, he is a champion because he's a lineal champion. It's an honorary title, but he's not like a world
The,
champion. So
Okay. All
that's
right.
that's the
he's a
technicality behind
champion, but he's not really officially. I get what you're
it.
saying.
He's not considered officially as a world champion. Yeah. He's not a sanctioned champion. He's
Right.
a
That.
like a ring magazine champion and
Yeah.
something like that.
But he did take on the challenge, so
Yeah, he
that's why
faced the best. He faced the
that's
best.
why
The
they
lineal
counted.
champion is the best. Yeah.
So,
So that makes him an 8 divisional champion and a 6 divisional world champion, and then the two additional divisions is lineal champion he was, which is phenomenal, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think about. It's a great accomplishment. So
I think
that's his long and short of him. He was great for boxing. I thought he was very entertaining,
for sure he was, man. He made
extremely
he.
entertaining.
Yeah. I know for sure. I'm glad he was around. He a lot of good fights.
Yeah, from his very first fight in the U.S. with Leo Ledwaba, where he was the underdog, he wasn't supposed to win, and he just blitzed through Leo
Just
Ledwaba.
knocked. He was blazing guys out, huh?
Yeah, he blazed out
Hey,
Barrera. That was a great
how would
win. The
how would
Barrera
he
win was a
do?
great win.
that was his best
How
win,
would
I think.
Yeah,
you
one
think
of his
so?
best wins,
A lot of
definitely.
people, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that his best win was like Barrera.
I think his best win was Thurman.
Thurman.
Thurman?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because he's 40 years old and he beats Keith
Yes.
Thurman.
Well, that's true. You're right. One for
It's
yeah, four
crazy.
years old and a world champion. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
in
you're
his
right. That's
prime,
true.
I
You're right.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
uh, Barrera was definitely up there. Can't say nothing
How would
about the
he
Barrera.
do? How would Pacquiao do against Whitaker if you
I,
can't hit him?
I don't know how you do against Whitaker. I don't know about that one. I think that would be a very bad matchup for Pacquiao.
I think so. I think
Somebody that
Whitaker
can move
will.
that could beat him basically. So
Whitaker would probably win that fight
I
and
think
make
so. I think
Pacquiao
so.
look super stupid in the
Yep.
process.
Pacquiao, I always had a hard
Moran,
time with
that
technical boxers.
Yeah, right. So
Guys,
Pacquiao has a little difficulty with guys who know what they're doing in the ring,
right,
boxing.
right,
If it's
exactly.
just
Hmm.
you can have a real. He beat very good boxers though. He beat Chachai Sasaku, was excellent boxer. He had just beaten a Russian boxer. He beat Leo de Duaba, very accomplished, very skilled boxer. David Diaz was a very good boxer. You
grappling,
know, so he beat some good boxers, some
solid
good
box.
boxers like that.
But
Yeah,
I mean like technical boxers, like technical, like
yeah,
Marquez,
technical
like
boxers.
Floyd Mayweather,
Mayweather.
like Barrera, like
No,
that.
well, Mayweather is a totally different
Different,
beast.
yeah.
Uh, and then the Cuban boxer, Ugas, is a totally different kind of category
Yep.
of fighter. These guys are okay. So salsa, you know, salsa and all these
Yeah,
kinds of
salsa,
things,
Australian
yeah.
box.
samba, salsa. Right. So those guys literally box to a different rhythm. They have different timing. You know how they shift their body. It's down to the science. I mean, serious science. These guys deal with shifting their body weight. How you a lot of nuance to it. So those guys are different sort of category of boxer. But even Eric Morales had a win over him. Eric Morales had a win
Yeah,
over him.
that's true.
Eric Morales is nowhere near as technical as those guys I just spoke about.
Floyd, yeah.
Yeah, he's nowhere near Floyd's level. Floyd's level. It's like you
But
talking about Whitaker and Floyd, them
yeah,
guys, James Tony, and those kinds of guys are just a whole other level of boxing.
Level, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It,
Because it's not that many guys like that now, so
No,
he gonna have
no, no,
right,
success.
right.
So.
no.
Guys,
It's
my battery's at 5%, so if I cut off, it's because of
all
my
right. Well,
battery. Okay.
Sergio, it was nice. It was nice having you
No,
guys here.
All
I'm
right,
still here for a little bit. But I'm saying my battery right now is at 5%, so I'll be here 5 more minutes. But it is I'm looking at it here. It's 7%, 5%, 6% every time. You know, I keep seeing it goes teet 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 teet, and it's in the red.
Well, all right, man. Well, it's good to see you, Troy Ingram. I haven't
all
seen
right.
you in years, in many
Good
years.
to see you.
I'm gonna tell you guys, peace out. I don't want to keep you guys much longer. And what's your
Thanks, man. Good
prediction
talk. Okay.
for two other big fights? What's your prediction for the upcoming Caleb and Canelo? And what's your prediction for if you have a prediction? If you don't have a prediction, there's no problem. For Terrence Crawford and Porter. What's your prediction again?
But
I got Crawford and
I think.
Canelo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Same here.
You
Same
can
here.
go first. Yeah,
No, you said
Crawford,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Crawford and Canelo?
yeah,
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
You? What about you?
I don't have a prediction. I'm just telling you guys right now. I don't know who's gonna win. I would like to
No,
see who will win.
that's good.
So those are fights.
I,
Those are the two fights that I
yeah.
can tell you for a fact that I'm glad to be a boxing fan because this is just one of those things where I just want to see the fight.
Yeah.
Honestly,
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
And I wouldn't be
Hey, my friend.
surprised if neither one of them win. So
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
be
Yeah, that's
surprised
surprised if
true.
at
Porter
all.
That's
or
true.
so.
Hey, my friend.
And
Good luck with your
I
fights.
like both fighters, so I would like both of them to win, but that's not possible.
My friend,
All
very
right,
good
man.
luck with your fight. Okay. I know you have a fight. You have a fight at the end of
Yes,
the year.
thank you very
Very good luck.
much.
Okay.
Hopefully we can get it nailed down. And I may hoping I don't have to take these COVID things, these COVID tests, but
Mm.
we'll see how it goes. But
Is it?
hopefully before the end of the year or beginning of next year, I should have a fight, and then I'll put it up for you guys to see.
There you go, man. We'll thumbs it up. Troy, right? Your name is Troy. Troy.
Oh yes, sir.
Troy
Okay, sir.
Ingram,
It was
good to see
good
you,
talking to
man.
you guys. Okay.
All right, you
Yes,
too, man.
sir.
Good talking to you guys.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
All right, y'all
Okay,
be
thank you.
safe, man.
Bye.
You
Yeah, you
too.
too.
You
Thank you.
too.
Bye.